you forgot. I'm a kid. 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 I'm a kid.
What's good, E-Man? You there?
I'm here. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, I am chilling, brother. How was your weekend, man?
Oh man, my weekend was decent. It was decent.
Good.
You?
Very good weekend for me, man. More laid back. Let me get my mic set up. I'm sorry. Laid back. Let's just say that.
Did
Traveled
you
a little bit.
get a chance to head downtown? Any of the festivities?
No, man. Maybe we can talk about that later on. I'll tell you why. And I'm not a real big crowd guy that much anymore. I've had my moments. I had my fun doing all of that. Not really my thing anymore. But, I wish everyone well when they do that. You know what I mean? I love people to have fun and listen to Dave Hollister, who happens to be one of my favorite artists. He's one of my favorite guys from back in the 90s. That type of thing. But, I'm not a jazz festival guy anymore. Not hating on it. I went last year, actually. And that was the first time in a long time. What about you? Did you go?
I didn't go to the show. Me and Mrs. Livingston just went downtown, walked around, just wanted to get a feel of everything, see what was going on, how everything was set up. So yeah, we went down, we walked around, we parked up by the library. $10 for parking, which ain't that bad.
It ain't bad.
No. So we parked up there. We walked down to the square. We just walked through the square because it was just too packed and too crowded. It didn't give me a comfortable feeling,
Yes, I got you.
I mean, to even be able to walk through and have to turn to the side and excuse me, my bad. Good, bro. And just all of that just to be able to get through.
Right.
Like you said, when I was in my 20s, that'd have been cool. I mean, like that would have been the spot to be. I'm 50 something.
Let me make a correction, bro. I see that Mary Myers is in. She said Randall White, they didn't have a jazz festival last year. Maybe I should have said the last jazz festival because she's right. They didn't have one due to COVID, but it was the year that Mary J came in and Teddy Riley and all that. So it was a couple years ago. Felt like yesterday. Felt like last year, but she's right. It was a couple years ago. I went to the one a couple years ago, not last year. They didn't have one. She's right.
But so we walked through Fountain Square, like legit, just made it from one side to the other. I was like, all right, that's a bit packed. It's a little too crowded. But I believe Lando was up there. They had the DJ going. They was playing, 90s R&B, which would have been cool because, that's
my thing.
R&B is my thing.
Yeah. So that's my thing.
Yeah. So we went through the food vendors, just walk through and see what was. But it was the same there. It was so crowded, like you didn't know who was lining up to get what food. And,
Okay.
you know, if I would have walked up there, they'd have been like, hey, get in line. It was too many people to know the line. All right. So made my way through there kind of the same way. Oh, excuse me. Oh, no, you good. No, it's cool. You know, you make your way through. We headed on down, went over to like right in front of I don't want to be disrespectful. I was about to call it the Slave Museum. Underground Railroad, Freedom Center.
Yeah.
Went past the Freedom Center.
No, bro.
And it was really, the Reds was playing. So they had a little Dora district over there. And then they had the barriers up, not to keep people from going back and forth, but that street was open. So, you know, they had to have the barriers up. And it was like the barriers was like the Red Sea, and it was like black people on this side, white people on this side. So a few black people were crossing over, but white people really wasn't crossing that street.
So you're saying Cincinnati was on full blast of segregation this weekend?
Oh yeah. The time that I was down there, I can't say what happened before that, but when I was down there, yes. So we walked on through the little Dora district, and right about that time, I guess the game was ending, and so we stood and we watched the fireworks. You know, nice little fireworks display. Then we walked back up, and I was wondering, are these fireworks? Because, you know, it's fireworks. They was loud. I was like, I wonder, are fireworks affecting somebody's set?
Some
you know,
performance. Yeah.
But, you know, it was
Probably
all good.
not. Probably not.
Yeah, probably. Because I was saying how loud that they have the sound system and everything. And, you know, you got to push a whole stadium. They was probably good.
What's crazy about that, quick thing, it's funny because when Mary J. Blige was on stage not last year, but the year before that, fireworks were going off over in the corner from probably the Reds game. Now that I think about it, it didn't affect her set at all. I remember that. I didn't even think of it until you just brought up fireworks, but I remember fireworks going off during Mary J. Blige performance that year. And man, all you could do was just see them. You couldn't hear them or anything. It was just Mary through the speakers. It was lovely. It actually was a great feature, a great thing to have while she was performing. It was pretty cool. So yeah, big ups to the Reds.
Walked by the stadium. Janet was performing when we walked by, so you know we heard her performance and kind of saw her on the screen. We walked through, and then we just headed right back on up. Is that Central Avenue? Ran into the Kearneys and, you know, walked up Central Avenue talking to them. Walked up by City Hall. When we turned down by City Hall, saw what looked like about 12, 15 police cars, sirens and lights blaring, SWAT truck and ambulance headed down, you know, towards downtown. And I was like, well, I'm glad we got out of there before whatever happened. And, you know, then of course I later heard, I've actually heard a few different stories. Some people say there were shots fired. Some people say wasn't no shots fired. Somebody had a seizure. Somebody said it was shots fired and people were trampled. And I'm not sure exactly what happened, but if something jumped off and people were on the square and people started running, that was a disaster. I can, from having just been down there, like I said, not even being able to walk through, that was a disaster.
Yeah. So let me ask you, is it a possibility that it could have been a combination of everything you just mentioned? Could it have been a shot fired? Could it have been a seizure? And could it have been, you know what I'm saying? It's a possibility that all of that can happen. Not trying to be negative, but that's probably one of my top tier reasons of why I don't really go. Because look, we're at an age, bro, it's not going to be us. It's not going to be us that's going to act a fool. Okay? It's just not going to be us. It's a different group of people who are going to act a fool. And I just rather not be around. I love being around us, but I just don't like being around the other ones that just don't care, bro. And there's always going to be an idiot no matter where you go. You know, there's going to be an idiot somewhere. And it's not that, listen, like I said, I went to the Jazz Festival a couple years ago, but I'm in and out, bro. I'm not show me the way anymore. And what I mean by that is I'm not down there to be looked at. I'm not down there to be looking. I'm there to do what I do with the Mary J. and Guy. Or no, it was Blackstreet that was there, Teddy Riley and them. They do the thing. My days of hanging out at the square was back in my day. I get it. I ain't got no beef, no problem. I ain't hating on nobody that do it. It's just not for me because of some of the, it's just some issues that's going on in this world today. And I just, I just rather do me, go to the concert and I'm rolling out. I'm going back. I'm getting out the way. I don't stay outside much, but that's just me, bro. That's just me.
But we enjoyed
I'll
the
spend a
time
little money
down
with them.
there, kicking it and everything. So, it was interesting to see the way everything was set up. I didn't like the vendors being on the square because they had some vendors set up on the square, which limited the space for people on the square. So I didn't like that, but I don't have beef with it. I'm just saying from a personal standpoint, I didn't care for that. But other than that, it looked like everybody was, having a pretty good time. And, it was a lot of younger people down there. There were people down there who had like little kids with them. And thinking about it, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's, a nice night out, everything. And if I would have had that little baby, she was going to be down there with me. But on second thought, I'm glad that I didn't have a little baby because you never know what somebody start.
I don't know if that's a good thing to do, bro. I mean, first of all, it's too many grown folks down there. I generally don't think that kids should be where a lot of grown folks are. That's just me. That's just my opinion, of course. But you know what goes on in these areas with a whole bunch of grown folks, and that is you're gonna have some smoking going on. You're gonna have some certain type of language. That's just gonna happen. And there's just certain places that I think kids should be in there where they shouldn't be. And I think in that particular, and there's some people on here right now that probably took their granddaughters or something like grandkids or whatever. I don't mean anything personal. It's just I don't feel good about myself being in certain areas, let alone me taking a grandkid or my daughter or son or something of that nature. I wouldn't really do that. I think that's a grown-up setting, quite frankly. I expect now during the day, that's a different situation. That could be different.
And again,
I'm talking about in the evening.
My mindset was we just gonna go walk. But yeah, it would have been a bad idea. It would have definitely been a bad idea. Taking kids down there. But there were kids, like 2-3-year-olds down there, walking around, hanging out, partying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's a little more than what I would, I'm not mad at anybody that decides to do that. I just would wish, like, for instance, there was a trampling that went on. Okay. Once they said that a gunshot went on, what happens to a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old when the crowd starts to run? And, they trample. I mean, that's a normal thing, especially us as Black folks. We don't even have to be involved. I seen a lady on the television who got interviewed. I think it was Channel 19 locally. And they asked what happened. And she was like, I don't really know. But everybody started running towards me. So I start running. And that's a natural reaction for us. We just gonna run. And she said she lost her shoes and everything because she ran. But what happens if you have a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old with you? It's just not a good situation. And I'm not trying to be Downy Debber on the situation. I'm just saying there's certain places that we should be. I think everybody should have fun. That's fine. But there's just certain outlets that you don't take children with you. First of all, those kids don't know shit about that 90s music on the square. They don't know nothing about that. All right. So that's a grown-up moment. That's for grown-ups. That's for that 90s crowd. You understand? That's for that. And I think it should kind of stay that way. And I just think that some of the stuff is some of the things that the kids can see can be inappropriate. But yet it's appropriate for us because we're grown and we understand it. You see what I'm saying? We understand that people make different choices.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, it was good, man. It was good. It was good. I guess the only complaint that I would say that I experienced was it was just a whole lot of people, and it wasn't the energy didn't feel right at that moment. Like, and that's not to say that the whole weekend felt like that, but just at that moment, the energy didn't feel right. When you got, because look, we all know you've been somewhere, you've been in a party, you've been in a crowd, and then a group comes into the crowd and brings a different energy into that crowd, and you're still trying to have fun, but there's a certain uneasiness in the crowd because there's a certain group that just came in and brought a new energy. I think that was what we walked into. And so, like I said, by the time we left and came around, that had manifested in some way. So, luckily we weren't still there. But I don't have no complaints. I'm glad that people made money. My understanding is a lot of people made a lot of money. You can't beat that.
That's good.
Seemed like a whole lot of people had a real good time, and you can't beat that. So
yeah. One of the things, let's talk about the money for a hot second. You mind?
I don't mind.
Okay. That's one of the things that I believe in most is the economics of whatever you're doing. And I actually overheard a conversation. It may have been, on the radio, probably, I don't know where it was. I can't remember. But I seen some people actually criticizing the Weeknd. And I don't know if this was necessarily a hater or if they really meant what they said. And they made a comment about, here we are down here spending all this money and we're not getting the majority of the money. And I find that to be a little insulting. And the reason why I say that is because you're never going to get 100% of the money. There's always going to be somebody that puts up more capital, puts in more work. And sometimes you got to take your space where you get in where you fit in until you can evolve into something bigger. When I heard that, I found it to be a little insulting, like I said. And they're saying that the hotels are making all the money. And yes, they probably are. But like you said, look at all the food trucks and look at the vendors that were in the crowd that was farming in this show. Look at the artists that all got paid. Look at the restaurants in the area that may have piggybacked off this Weeknd's money. No, we don't run the what is the Jazz Festival. We don't really run it, but a lot of people that look like us do capitalize on the Jazz Festival coming to town. They really do. But I'd like to say something about that. This is a golden opportunity for us right now, Emmanuel. And what I mean by that is we always talk about we're not getting the lion's portion of the money. That could truly change, my friend. And the reason being is because I don't know, do we have a Black hotel in the city of Cincinnati? I don't care if it's downtown or anywhere. Can somebody answer that? Do we have a Black Black-owned hotel in the city of Cincinnati?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I know that wasn't that kind of what Ndukwe was working on, dealing with Mr. Sittenfeld and all that kind of stuff.
No, that wasn't necessarily. You're talking about that property over there. No, that was for gambling, for sports betting. That was that type of program. Yeah, they were working on a different type of building.
I thought he was working on a hotel. But
Ndukwe was involved in a hotel situation with Floyd Mayweather, the hotel up in Clifton. I don't know if you got that one confused with something else. Maybe they were. Maybe there was talks of him involved in a hotel in the downtown Cincinnati area. I haven't heard of any Black-owned hotels in the area. But just for argument's sake, let me just get this point out. You got to look at the fact that the Jazz Festival is not owned by Black folks. That's fine, okay? And for 30 or 40 years, it hasn't been. But what we have to look at now is there is an opportunity for that to change right now as we speak. And I'm looking at brothers like J. Rods and Lando and some of these other guys that do promotional music, and they bring smaller artists in. And when I say smaller artists, I mean budget, okay? They're being put in spaces now that we haven't been put in for quite a long time because of the controlling of the big guys in town. And what I mean by that is you got Santangelo's. They're more than just more. I hate to say this, and I know we're on a public channel, but they're more than just the capital of these shows. They're an influence. They move. They're an influence company. When you have the control of Procter & Gamble and sponsors like that behind you, they can make it slow for you when you try to do things outside of what they're doing, or if you're trying to get in their space. They can make it slow for us. But now what I'm seeing is a transition of us being able to do some of those acts, and we're kind of migrating into that space a little bit. And the older guys like Santangelo and them are kind of slowing down. They're kind of moving out of that lane. So there's a strong possibility that some of these guys locally who are trying to do could actually get in that space and permanently and lock it in. And that's the type of change. Yeah, that's the type of change that I think has to happen, and it's possible, but it's up to us to do it. Don't look for them to say, hey, do you want to be the new Santangelo? No, these guys have to aggressively go after it and put themselves in that space and take it over. That just has to happen, because guess what? 40 years ago, that's exactly what Santangelo and them did. That's exactly what they did. So you got to have the same type of strength, gumption, attack, and you got to be able to, you have to be aggressive in that space in order to, kind of lock it in. That's just what we have to do.
And I mean, like I said, I would love to see that happen. I don't know if, that's even something that's on their, in their periphery or something that they're even interested in doing. Not even sure about that. But yeah, I'd love to see, Lando, J-Raj, and maybe even some other people who we have no idea who they are. If they come together, or if somebody decides to, step it up.
That's a different conversation. Now, come together, that's a different conversation.
That's why I said either come together, or somebody, individually decides, hey, let's step this up, and we can do that and maybe do it on a different level or whatever. I'd love to see.
Yeah. I mean, the food court, food trucks, all of that. I mean, I just hate the fact, to be honest with you. Let me fix my mic. Sorry. I just hate the fact that this is kind of like a one-time a year thing. This is one of the things that really could boost the economics of us each year. And it has to be done more than once. You understand what I'm saying? Especially when you're in a situation where it can be free, like Fountain Square. The Jazz Festival is never free. Okay, it's nothing about it is free. It's a total expense to the city. It's a total expense to everybody but the ones that are actually putting it on at this point, because it's a sponsored event. So I hate to say this, and I know I'm probably going to get some backlash for this, but Santangelo and them probably ain't put up money in 20 years for the Jazz Festival. Okay, so we got to learn how to get in that space. We got somebody, and I don't mean to attack them personally. This isn't personal. This is business. This is me trying to share a little bit of piece of what I've learned over the years. We have to learn how to get in that space and capitalize. And that recycled dollar is supposed to be within our community. And we're sharing the lion's portion of the money with somebody that's basically getting in at no cost.
Yeah. I'll tell you the other thing I noticed this weekend when we headed up buying over there where like City Bird and the Eagle and the Soul Food restaurant is up there. We wasn't up there.
What do you mean?
I didn't see a lot. I didn't see a lot of black people, and as crowded as it was downtown, basically just across Central Parkway. If you went north a few blocks, I don't know if that a lot of people, the square was just the place to be, but they were up there. They were up there. They were out. They were, enjoying just a regular weekend in that district. And I'm not hating on the food trucks or none of that kind of stuff, but while we down there paying $40 for a few pieces of catfish and some fries, you could have went up the street a few blocks and sat down and had a meal, I feel like sometimes I've heard, and I know Lincoln liked to give Doug a hard time about saying this stuff. But when you talk about it's not for us, that's not for us. I think that mentality, that attitude is kind of ingrained in us. Like, that's not ours. So let's not take time out and take advantage of it. It's like that's theirs. You know, but that's not a place for us to go and I don't want to say hang out, but patronize.
Yeah, you got a point there, E. And one of the things, let me just kind of continue that point a little bit. I think what happens is we also limit ourselves not only in that capacity, we limit ourselves in our earnings as well. Because when you make this thing a black thing, you're kind of shying away a lot of money that could come your way. Because think of all those people that were down on the banks. What if they would have brought another $500,000 up the street and spent it with the food trucks, been on Fountain Square and spent, you understand what I'm saying? There was probably $1 million+ down on the banks that could have went into our community as well. I'm not trying to shoot shade. This is not at all that. I'm saying when you open up, you understand what I'm saying? When you open it up and make it about this is Cincinnati, this is this and this and that. Don't be afraid, black folks, to get white folks money to do that. And what I mean by that is they're not have a baseball game. They don't have white boy baseball game. They sell hot dogs to everybody down there. They sell $20 beer to everybody. And we welcome, I'm sure, the promoters of that event would welcome any color to come in. But Cincinnati was totally segregated this weekend. And not only was it segregated by the skin color, obviously, the money was segregated. And we got to look at that. You got to look at that. You got to pay attention to okay, can we really, we're only doing this once a year. They're having events like that all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why the cycle of money go around. And that's why they're able to have things that's a little bit more suitable for what they're doing. I think if we had more events like this, we would have more entrepreneurs and more business people of color that would see opportunity in hotels in downtown. But do we have enough business right now to feel comfortable in getting into that space of hotel or hotel and leisure? Do we have that? Because we have the minds, we have the smarts. We just need
I would say this. That's true. But I would say this, just like it's easy to say, well, they don't mind taking our money and so on and so forth, and they'll sell a hot dog to anybody. Nobody was keeping them from crossing that street.
I understand.
There was nothing keeping them from crossing the street. And there are a lot of the white community, I won't say all of it, but a lot of the white community, that if they know it's a black hotel, I would imagine they would avoid that hotel if they can, because they don't want to patronize black, like they don't go to black movies. They don't support black restaurants for the most part. They are very specific. They want to spend their dollars with white people. And so to say, try to get it. Right.
I have to disagree with they don't spend. If they knew it was black owned, that they wouldn't spend money with us. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because the majority of billionaires that you see that are of a color, they have a very diverse audience. I don't see a lot of billionaires. I don't see a lot of millionaires in this country that only get black dollars and that's how they prosper. I don't see that. But I'm not saying you're 100% wrong. I'm saying that if you own a flagship hotel, say like you own a Choice Hotel, I don't know why you have to say it's black owned or whatever you want to say to give it its definition of black owned. I think if you put a hotel downtown Cincinnati, it'll fill up that weekend and other weekends just like all the rest of them.
But I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, and I'm talking specifically about Cincinnati. Look, Cincinnati and Alabama are the places that I've lived. Okay.
Okay.
And I know here in Cincinnati, if you put a hotel somewhere and you just make it, like you said, just your regular hotel, and nobody knows that it's black owned, then people will just treat it like a hotel. But as soon as they find out this is black owned, there are certain people who would go out of their way to not patronize that same hotel that they stayed at last weekend. That, oh, it's black owned. I didn't know that. And they'll find a different hotel next weekend. And I
mean,
know that
there could be some
about Cincinnati.
There can be some truth to that, E. But at the same time, when you book a hotel, when you booked a hotel, or when you stayed at your place in Arizona, did you know if it was black owned or not? Because you were from out of town, right? You're from out of town, so you don't know. But your locals may know. That's an Indian reservation. I ain't hooking up. I'm not gonna spend my money there. But if us being from outside, people that live in Chicago don't know what's black owned in Cincinnati, unless it's restaurants. And we see what we try to do. What we tend to do is we make that emphasis on a black owned location. We tend to do that. We do that ourselves. And sometimes that might have something to do with people staying away. I see some comments in the chat that says, you're right, which I agree with you. They won't patronize these hotels, and somebody even said they picked and choose where they wanted to spend their money this weekend. Well, yeah, for some people, they don't want to go down. For most Caucasians, they're not going to go see Dave Hollister, who sang in the 90s, versus the Cincinnati Reds. Their thing is the Cincinnati Reds. It's not Dave Hollister. So, yeah, you're right. They made their choice of where they want to spend their money. My point is, there was opportunity for us to get some of that money as well, even if it was food. So maybe we need to look to incorporate closer to the stadium, or like on Sawyer Point that weekend or something, where those food trucks and those, restaurants who have trucks or whatever, the people can have access to them as well. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that we ain't got, they made their choice, we made our choice. Fuck that. Excuse my language. I'm all about green. I don't care about white or black. I'm all about the green. I'm saying the only way you're going to make it in this country is you got to be able to be diverse in how you collect your dollars. That's just how it go. Anybody sitting back here thinking that you about to get rich, just sitting here talking about I'm only going to collect money from this particular person, that particular person, that's not going to work out for you. Good luck.
Yeah, but I don't think people say that. Like, I'm only going to collect money from this particular person or from that particular person. But I do think there is something to, saying to your community, hey, look, same thing you saying right now. Look, we need to support our own businesses. We need to circulate that dollar amongst ourselves. And so if I start a business, yeah, I'm going to be saying, look, y'all, this is a black-owned business, and I want y'all support so that I can support other black-owned businesses. But in me saying I'm a black-owned business and I want your support, and I'll support other black businesses, there are a number of other people who are listening to me say that, and now in their mind, I'm a black-owned business. So they're not going to. So I'm not saying, white people, I don't want your money. I'm saying I'm a business. I'm a black man. I own this business, and I would love it if my people would come and we can circulate that dollar in our community. But I'm not excluding any other community. I don't know that I don't think it's wrong to acknowledge that I'm a black man that own a business. But in acknowledging that, that's going to run away, but here in Cincinnati, now I am almost setting myself up for, there are some white people who are not going to come and support my business. And I mean, even if I just doing a general market business, like I'm not selling African wear or something like that. I'm just selling t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm selling t-shirts. Yeah. Like, in order to get connected, you gotta get connected. But like black owned, like I see them starting to grow and expand. But for a minute, at least it felt to me, like for a minute, black owned, that was for blacks. And white people was not supporting. And I don't know their numbers. I don't know their owner, but it didn't feel from the outside looking in like it was white people supporting black owned. I remember when the radio station and our promotions manager said, no, we're going to get our t-shirts, our station apparel from black owned. There was some pushback behind that. Black owned? Do we really want to? By the white people at the station.
But it's a black owned station. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
It's a black owned station, but there are white people.
Let me say something about that, E, if you don't mind. My apologies.
I
Is
don't
it all
mind.
right
I
for
don't
me
mind.
to go in on your ex employer?
Say that
Is
one
it
more
all
time.
right for me? Is it okay for me to go in on your ex employer? You don't mind?
No, I don't mind.
You can always say I said it. That was him who said that shit, not me. That was him. But anyway, let me just say this. Wrong. That radio station is black owned, but it's ran by white people. It makes absolutely no sense to me. That's a perfect example of what's wrong. I don't get how, and you see when you have white leadership in that role of running a black radio station, they just they make bad decisions for the culture. Either they allow some bad conversations to happen, or they allow money not to be spent properly. And both of those things I have a slight beef with. And it's nothing personal with anybody there, none of the personalities on the air and nothing like that, because they don't decide on where the budget goes. That's not their thing. But
Right.
when you have management group being white at a black-owned radio station, that's problematic for me. And them having a problem with using black-owned is a perfect example.
Right, because I mean, there was we had a promotion. Who is the person who decides, where we're gonna get all of our promotional materials, our shirts, cups, mugs, et cetera, et cetera. That person, for the most part, makes that decision, and it's unquestioned. Because typically it's, here is this magazine, we go through here and you order from there. But then this person says, no, it's a black owned shop here in Cincinnati. We are a black radio station. Why can't they can make t-shirts just like they can make t-shirts. And I believe there was even a slightly better price on them. And there was pushback like, do we really want to, is it really? And I was thinking, there shouldn't be a pushback.
That's ridiculous to me because
But the point is that there are, again, here in Cincinnati, if you say I'm black owned, there are white people who gonna say, ooh, we might want to stay away from them.
Yeah, I get it. The irony of that whole situation that you just described, bro, is here you are, a radio station that makes your money off of who? Advertisers. Who do you think those advertisers, the demographic of who they going after right now? They're going after that same black community that you won't spend your money in as a station. That's ridiculous to me, bro. That is so caught up in a space that I can't even describe how I'm gonna be honest. I can't describe how stupid that is. That's just so dumb and ass backwards to me. The advertisers spend their money with this radio station to get a black demographic to go spend their money in the public. But yet the radio station don't even have enough gumption to spend its money, its budget on marketing with a black company. That makes no sense to me. That's like, I'm going to take black people money, but I'm not going to give any money back. I'm willing to take money to advertise to black people, but I'm not willing to spend money within the black companies. And I'm not saying that it's been like that. I don't know how long it was like that, but just this one particular case, I don't understand how anybody could support or back that. That's even working there or whatever. That just sounds, that's the problem with having white leadership or white management in a black-owned company. They don't understand all aspects of giving back, and that's part of it right there.
I agree with that, but I mean, of course, the point that I'm making is not to bash the radio station.
I understand.
Even though
now you put all that shit on. Go ahead.
No, that's cool.
You
if
can
you
put it on.
I'm not gonna stop you.
I'm not bashing them, but yeah, I'm just speaking facts. But that's cool. If their facts wasn't bashable, then I wouldn't have shit to say. But yeah, okay.
But it's not just those white people that's running that radio station that feel that way. This is Cincinnati, and again, I'm certain this is true all over the country. But I'm saying I know it to be the case here in Cincinnati, and I know black people who have started businesses who go out of their way to not be labeled as a black business. I knew a guy who was a mechanic, and he said to me, like, look, I'm a mechanic. I'm a black mechanic. I own the shop. He said, but I always try to make sure, on my logo, he had a little cartoon of a mechanic, and on my logo, I never put a black person on there. He says it's always a white guy or a silhouette that you don't, that you can't tell. He says, because if I put a black person on there, white people ain't gonna come get their cars fixed at my shop.
Yeah, well, there's a there's a level of truth there. There's a level of truth there. I mean, I'm not here to say that I've said it on Wyatt Live before, that if I owned an ice cream shop in downtown by the stadium, I wouldn't put a black owned sign in the window because I don't. I mean, it's not because I'm not proud to be black owned. It's
Right,
because
right,
I don't care. I just want the money. I don't. I
right.
need people to patronize my business, and some people are intimidated by the black owned sign itself, or they just seem to, and here's the thing, bro. It could be a turn off. You could be hurting yourself doing that, being pro this and pro black, whatever. I'm not trying to go against the grain on it. I'm just being honest. If you put yourself in a black community and you say you black owned, everybody know it. But when you go into a mainstream area where you can capitalize on all demographics of money, whether it's Asian, Jewish people, white people, black people, Korean, whatever it is, you have to just be a business. And because if you don't do that, people will look at you as being, you know, you could
I
be, you know what I'm
I don't
saying? You
know
could.
about that. I don't know that I
Okay.
agree with you on that to a certain degree. There are there
Okay.
are there are certain businesses that are proudly Asian businesses. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's no denying this is an Asian business owned by an Asian person, but people don't really have a problem patronizing that business. I've been to businesses where they got the Star of David up. That's clearly a Jewish business, and they don't
Not
mind.
everybody,
They're,
not
they're very
everybody
proud.
understands that.
Well, true, but they're very proud. They're displaying we're a Jewish business, and people don't mind uh, going and patronizing that business. There is something in the United States of America and possibly around the world. I can't say because I haven't been around the world, and I found my baby. But they're around the world. I can't say, but I know here there is, if you black, I'll support you if you Asian. I'll support you if you are Arabic. I'll support you if you are Jewish. I'll support you if you are white. But if you are black, ooh, that's just, let's hold on. Let's think about this. You know, so that really is a thing here in America. I know that.
Yeah, possibly. For sure. I have to say, yeah, in most cases, there is a situation where I can prove what you're saying is right. However, if you travel a lot, if you go to large metropolitan cities, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's just take Detroit. When you go to Detroit, they have everything but a black town. And what I mean by that is here this is a chocolate city, but they have a Greek town, which is Greek. They have an Asian town, which is all Asians. They have a Greek town, which are Greek people. And these are people that have their own places within this city. And people patronize those businesses by choice because of whatever reason. You know, Greeks have a certain amount of food, certain food. And if you had that distinct taste for that, cool. Asians had their taste of food. But for some odd reason, I can never go anywhere in the country and say that's the African town, or excuse me, like that's the African American town, or that's the brother town. Whenever you hear about us, we got to be stigmatized as the hood. You know what I'm saying? That's the hood. And that's where
Yeah.
you get the best this at. And that's right there, bro. For many, many years, I've had an issue with that. But, I don't know what changes. I don't know how we make that change. But see, a lot of people who ain't been nowhere, y'all might not understand. I ain't trying to be all Mr. Know-it-all, Mr. Goodbar and all that shit. I'm just being honest. These are things that are actually happening across this country that a lot of people are missing. And like I said, you can go to Detroit and be like, where you going this weekend? I'm going to gamble in Greektown. I'm going to the casino in Greektown. Or I'm going over to, Asian town. I mean, there's a lot of that going on. And that allows those communities, to spend their money amongst each other. And then, of course, yeah, it can start up. It can create segregation. It can do that because if you don't want to support an Asian restaurant, you don't go into Asian town. You don't go into Greek town. All of that is being said. Just sit me up on the banks and I'll open up a business. And I don't necessarily have to be black owned and all that. And I noticed in the comments that some people was like tripping on me saying that I wouldn't put a black owned sign up. It ain't because I'm afraid or ashamed to be black. It's because I don't want somebody to be intimidated coming into the business, because it's 2022 and people still are intimidated or feel like they don't belong in certain places of where they spend their money. And I don't want people to feel that way.
Yeah, you're not. I understand it. I do. I get it. And I mean, it's right now it's the world, and here in it's the city that we live in. It's the city that we live in. So I get it.
All right. So I don't think we came up with, I don't think we're off base on what, I just think that, and there's some people that made some comments, that they'll make comments, but are you in that space? Are you in a position right now that you put up every dime that you've ever worked for, started your own business, and you in a place right now that you can say, I risk everything I own to start my own business, and I'm gonna make sure that everybody know I'm Black owned, and everybody gonna come to my business. Everybody gonna line up to come to my business and support me because I'm Black owned. Ask some of these Black owners. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember this, but a prominent attorney in town made a comment about why y'all wrapped around Alabama Fish Bar. Y'all not wrapped around such and such's restaurant. Y'all not supporting her like you supporting this Alabama Fish Bar. That didn't go over too well, but I understood exactly what he was talking about. I understood exactly what he meant. Are we really in a position? Do we have enough people in our community that will truly support Black-owned businesses, where a Black-owned business can feel comfortable saying that I am Black-owned? Because they have to understand, when you do that, you're basically steering away some of your clientele. So do they have the right support? Not do they really want to do it or not, but do they have the correct support to be able to stand on a strong circle like that? That's what I asked. And I asked those that have a problem with what I said about not putting a sign up. I asked you that.
Well, let me say this. Give us a call, 513-310-0546, or line 2, 513-717-KING. That's 513-717-5464. Give us a call. Share your thoughts if you'd like to. We'd love to talk to you about it. I see the people in the chat commenting. But yeah, you can give us a call, and we'll chat with you. If you call Wyatt's line, you'll be on for about 25 minutes. Because he's gonna let you talk and talk.
Hey, I value what people talk about, E. I value. I mean, I'm not always, I don't try to steer their conversation like you do. You want them to make sure they agree with you. If you don't agree with Emmanuel, you call 513-310-0546. If you agree with him, you call his number you call 513-717-KING, and he'll let you talk for 2 days until the battery run low on my cell phone. You got it.
Oh, that is so not true.
He'll let you. Where's CK at?
What else?
So look, one last thing on that. I see that Saudi said, Kenneth Jones says, people, we have the ability to support our own businesses. We created it all. We do have the ability. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot of things that show you that. You can take BET as an example. BET was built by a Black man, supported by Black listeners, and built by Black people. But it evolved to a whole nother level when other people start spending their money, and music became universal. Rap music wasn't real big in the white community when we was coming up, when BET first started. White people didn't support BET at the beginning. But as rap music evolved and and R&B music started becoming more diverse, our business in that lane start growing. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. They will support Black-owned businesses if you give them something that they like. You see what I'm saying? White people do it all the time. Look at the music industry, bro. These brothers are getting paid way more money today than ever before.
That's different.
No, it's not. It's business. Yeah. It's a different kind of business, but it's business and economic.
It's different. There's a difference between I listen to this music and I will come to your restaurant, go to your call your consulting agency, have you come and do IT for my company. That's different. I know it's all business, but it is different. It's different.
So you're telling me that there's no black consultants in this country that predominantly service white people?
No,
That's
I'm
what
not
you
telling
think?
you that. No, I'm not telling you that, and I don't
Oh,
think
okay,
that.
'cause that's what it sounds
But
like. It sounds like you're saying white folks will listen to our music, but they won't utilize our brains to be a
I'm talking
resourceful
about.
source for them.
No, I am talking about kind of overall. Like, sure, there will be a company here who will, maybe have some initiative and reach out to a black company or something like that. That'll happen here and there. But just overall, no, they don't.
You do realize that the majority of black folks in this country that are rich are rich because of service-oriented businesses, such as IT, such as computer, such as all of those services, and they're being utilized by corporate America, whether we want to admit it or not. That's what's
Yeah,
going on. It's
that's what I
not the
said.
it's not the
That's what
stores
I
and
said.
the
Here and
companies
there,
on the
you will
block.
see that. Here and there, you will see that. But that's not like the norm. That's not. I mean, it's just not. It's just
Well,
not the.
I don't know too many of us.
And here is another thing, which is actually a little bit more of a problem to me. And I've had this discussion when talking about attorneys. There are a lot of black people who will not, for example, go and hire a black attorney. They want a Jewish attorney because they're of the mindset that a Jewish attorney is going to be better for them than a black attorney. And if they're that way about an attorney, I imagine they're that way about IT. I imagine they're that way about, whatever it is. There are a lot of, which is why I can't put it all on white people, but white people probably, I would say, led on this. They led, and the more you hear that message, probably the more we accepted it, that black businesses and services are going to be inferior to other businesses and services. So they hesitate, if not outright choose to deny the use of black businesses and services. And somehow that's seeped into some of us, where we will hesitate and not use. For real, I had a whole conversation where I had caller after caller after caller telling me that they would never hire a black attorney here in Cincinnati. They're going to hire a Jewish attorney because a Jewish attorney is going to be the best attorney. They're going to get you a deal, or they're going to go to trial and they stand a better chance at winning over a black attorney.
And so they still go to jail. And they still go to jail. And that's such a bad myth. It's such a bad myth. It's ridiculous that people would say that or feel that way, quite honestly. But
there are a lot of people, black and white, who feel that way. I saw a comment in here that said something like, if at a black restaurant, you get a black restaurant and they start getting a lot of business, the service and the food quality go down.
That happens to all businesses.
But we look at it and we're like, oh wow, that's how we judge. This is another true story. I went to Conscious Kitchen, and they ran out of a few items. And the group that I was with, group of black people, were like, how you be a restaurant and you running out of food? Mainly they had ran out of, I don't know if it was chicken. I don't think even they served chicken. But they ran out of something, whatever it was. How you be a black restaurant, you run out of food. How you be a black restaurant, you run out of food. Now, I had the same conversation with some of these same people because I went to KFC and they ran out of chicken. And they wasn't like, I ain't never going to, because that was their thing. I ain't never going back to that restaurant. They ran out of food. Well, KFC ran out of chicken. Are you ever going back to KFC? Well, yeah, I mean, that happened, it just happens sometimes. Why you can't make that same excuse for the black business, but you can make allotments for the white business? The chicken place ran out of chicken, and that was cool. But the black place ran out of a few items, and you ain't never going back there again. And it's we do some of that to ourselves, but it ain't just us.
Right. No, I agree with you. That's why when you were making your point and you said, when certain things happen, you know, they critical on us. And I'm like, yeah, they are critical. We're critical. We're more critical of ourselves. Whenever there's an issue at a Black restaurant or a Black owned business, we do have a lot more pushback on us versus on mainstream cooks like KFC. It's ridiculous. But who do you blame for that? You know, you got to look at self when certain things like that happen. Why are we more critical on ourselves?
I think I blame white people for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm not understanding something here, E. I see people say get them, E, and I think we on the same page. I think we agree with this. I think are we disagreeing here? Am I missing something?
I don't think we disagree. I think we're disagreeing to the level that it is, not disagreeing that it happens.
Right. I think that we both know that we are critical of ourselves when it comes to Black-owned businesses, but I also believe that we have to be able to accept. We need to be in a position to accept money from all places, and I'm saying that there's a way that can be done. And I don't think
Anthony says he's trying to call. It's going to voicemail. Who are you trying to call?
You know what? I think I got him online here. You want me to take this call real fast? Let me see if I got him. AP, are you there?
It's not Anthony, it's Brian.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had Anthony Presser. My apologies, brother. It showed up on the screen. Yeah, he's clicking in. That's why that came up. Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. No problem, man.
Said Brian.
So I just want to step back for a minute on this conversation because I think there's elements of what both of you are saying that is valid, and I don't think that there's like some huge gap in what you're saying. But to me, it starts with the stigma on Black professionalism. That's the beginning of it.
I agree. I agree. Sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
That's okay. And that's societal, and it's been the case since we got here. And that method of thinking does trickle down to all layers, including us. There's no question about it that we are when we do something, there's stank on it. And that has gone on for so many generations that we start to believe that ourselves. And that's why it goes back to something that a hero of mine would always say is that at the essence of our transformation is understanding our own self-worth. And until we're able to completely understand our power and self-worth, we will be influenced and subjugated by those who see us as less. So that was the first thing.
I agree with you, Brian. Let me stop you there if you don't mind.
No doubt.
I totally agree with you. Okay, on that part. I really do. I think that leads to the critical thinking of us. We tend to do that to ourselves. And yeah, that's a great point. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No doubt. But I also, now by the same token, I think it is a fact that whether it comes to things like investment or whether it comes to things like there are the same barriers that other areas in society is what we face on a business level. I'm not saying this is a theory. I own a business. And the fact is that everything is harder. And there are Black tech and Black service industry people who have exceeded very far that you pointed out, Wyatt. But the thing is, they're the exception to the rule. And oftentimes we do this thing where we look at the extreme examples. Those Black people are the ones who won the lottery. But my gauge and how far we've gotten is how much the regular person or the regular tech or the regular service industry attempt or the regular small business, how are they treated? That's a bigger bar that shows how far we've advanced in society than the handful of us. And it's a bigger handful all the time, but it's a handful of us that make it to these great heights and do these things and end up being the speaker at Black Tech Week and these kind of things. And like all facets of society, we get sold this idea that because they did it, you can do it. And yes, some of us can, but shouldn't we be striving so that we all can, or most of us can? And I don't mean like we're all equal and we're all the same. I'm just saying the playing field is not even close to equal. And I'll give you one example. So I'm a maker. I'm a jeweler and I'm an engraver.
Okay.
That's the new thing I'm starting to. Well, not starting. I've been at it for 2 years, and I'm doing pretty. I'm having a good go at it. But there's a stigma. People across different cultures like the stuff I do. I don't have like one clientele versus another clientele. But when I'm at a booth at like a festival or a fair, there'll be all kinds of people lined up next to me, right? And they're all making things too. Why is it when they come up to my booth that the tendency is they're shocked when they find out I make it? It's a maker's event. It's people who make it, but they assume I'm an employee and not a maker of fine jewelry. Because how could I be? Or, oh my God, you made that? It's like, it's one of those things like you're so articulate where they don't mean harm when they say it, but there's a whole thing behind it that shows how you're not believed to be able to do certain things. So that filters into the last thing I'll make is there's a reason why some Black businesses, we can take restaurants for example, are, and I'll say this in quotation marks, subpar. There's a reason for that. Now, some of it could be, the individuals just don't take the time, or whatever. Not everybody who starts a business, whether they're making soul food or whatever else, is going to be tasty or it's going to be good just because they may not be up to the test. However, there's none of this with capital investment. And if you're trying to get capital investment so that you can have the same quality as the person next door and have the same types of chairs and flooring and all this different stuff and get the same type of tax breaks that somebody else might get, all those things are harder. So if you don't get as much, if you only get a fraction of what your counterpart of a different shade might get, now what you're able to provide has certain limitations. And I'm not saying that's universally always true, but it's true far more times than it's not. So I'll stop there. I'm interested in seeing how y'all take these things, and I appreciate you taking the time for the call.
Hey, Brian, that's a good call, man. Great call. You covered quite a bit in there. You said a mouthful of stuff. Let me just ask you a quick question.
Sure.
When you bring up, the major thing in all of that I got out of there is it's all about capital, correct? So you got to compare what level you're at the moment. If you are a small business with a very limited capital base, it's not fair to say that you can go into a main district and compete at those same levels. You brought up something, you said tax breaks. I don't know a lot of small businesses, whatever their budget is. I don't know a lot of small businesses that get tax breaks like corporate welfare, so to speak. Like the
No. Wyatt, I'm not saying that.
What tax breaks are you referring to?
I'm saying if you go down Vine,
Okay.
The small business, you have some businesses become very small and stuff like that. And this is no knock on any of their efforts, because there's some tasty food there, some good service, some upscale. There's nothing about that. Once you get further down towards Liberty, you have a couple of black spots. And I'm not saying that there may not be black spots that are going up and down in between that just haven't professed that. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying like shops that gear towards our culture, no matter who consumes it, but shops that gear towards our culture and gear towards our stuff, there's a whole bunch of reasons you can argue for why they're not in the central walking area of Vine, that little corridor. Mm. There's 1,000 excuses, there's 1,000 reasons, some of them legit, some are not, that you can give. But at the end of the day, the space allotted, the benefits given, is not towards things that reflect that for the main drag. you could argue maybe that's because there weren't any black businesses that had the money to put themselves in a situation where they could get the tax break to set up next to Sephora or any of those other restaurants that are down there. You could make that argument, and I couldn't disagree with you. But the factors of why that's the case, now that is a compelling argument. Why? Do you think that the shirt and the clothing business that's down all the way down towards Liberty, barely, surviving, and they got a nice setup, do you think they didn't want to be where Holt's Donuts is or across from some of these other chic fashion places? And what do you think were the obstacles to them being able to do that?
Affordability is one of them. Sticker shock is another. To be with you, Brian.
But do you think some of those small chic places that are? I know some of the people who own some of these places. They're not rich people, nor was their product guaranteed to do any better than like stuff that kind of more represents the hip hop culture, let's say. There's a reason why they didn't get first dibs on that. And it's not simply money.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Do you know for a fact that those are successful businesses that are sitting there? Are they successful because the lights and the door is open? Are they turning a profit? Or do they have a support system that allows them to stay open a little bit past smaller budgeted companies? That's what I would ask.
Oh, sure, for sure. I bet you a number of them have some kind of a bankrolling that makes it possible. Or some of them could be write-offs. All these different things. So there's a lot of factors that could keep these doors open in prime located spaces. It's not always because they're profitable, correct? That's what you would admit to that, right? Oh, not only do I admit to it, I'm saying it's a result of generational wealth.
Yes. Which
comes back to this question of the stigma on Black professionalism, which is another stifler to building generational wealth.
Okay, so where does that start? You see what I'm saying? Where does the generational wealth, where does it start for us now? Does it start in the support of one another, or does it support in the systems that should give us capital, which means we should be able to go to the bank and get $200,000 for a small business to be able to survive without profit for 5 years? What would you prefer? Would you prefer the community be the support?
I refuse to choose. Why should I choose?
Well, because it has to be one or the other. You have to either have the support of the community to support your business to keep the doors open, or you have to be able to have the support of the banking to be able to give you enough capital where if you don't turn a profit for 3 years, you're still in business.
Or you should have both.
Well, that's not up to that's something that has to happen by your longevity and being in business. You can ask for support, but if you don't have a business that is properly being supported, sometimes it's not just because of the people. It could be of you. It could be your product is not good enough, whether you white,
Absolutely.
Black, or whatever.
Absolutely. I started off saying that. But the difference is that
let me say this to you, Brian. Let me say this to you, bro. You're one of my favorite callers because you're very articulate and you get all around where we need to be. You're like that doctor that get into the operation. You know what the problem is, but on your way there, you see so many other issues once you open it up. You see other issues. And then you start, I can see where you're going, because once you get in there and see all these other problems, that kind of opens the door of what that major problem that you were going into in the first place, why you were going in to rescue that problem. You see all these other combination of problems. You see what I'm saying, bro? And what I'm saying is we tend to be one-track-minded of why things don't work or why we have a problem when there is a nucleus of problems to fix that one. And if once you get in there, Brian, you allow us to see, like, here's the road of where we're at of all these different problems. And that's what you bring to the show, bro. You open up that can, and it allows us to see, okay, yeah, we got economic problems, we got capital problems, we got this, we got that, we got this, and we got that. But it's not just that one thing that we started the conversation with. You understand what I'm saying, bro? I hope I'm not trying to get too confusing, but I just need people to understand that it's not just black and white. It's not cut and dry. There are several reasons why we're critical of one another when it comes to black-owned businesses. It's not just because we run out of the chicken E. It's because there are problems. There are major problems, and we don't the same type of support or backing. And a lot of it is not just from other people. A lot of it is internal. And we got to overcome that internal, because the internal. B, I asked you a question of, would you rather have the support of the community or $200,000 to be able to survive for 5 years without a profit? And I'd like to answer my question. My own question to answer it would be, I want the support of my people, because I can get the support of them helps my business stay open, and that'll turn a profit. And that's longevity. The 200,000 is just going to get spent up, not turning a profit. And in 5 years, we're gone. We're a has-been. We'll be telling stories of how we didn't make it and why we didn't make it.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I'm not so sure I completely agree with that.
Okay.
But first of all, I appreciate it and I agree, and I appreciate your kind words or whatever. And I think it's just a conversation that we're all in, and we all are putting positive things in to help us think it through. But I'm not so sure. I've come from a different place. I know my product is going to win community support. I know what my standing is in the community, and the community knows me. So that's a given on my end. On my end, what would be the most useful is to have some capital investment so I can stay afloat while I do some extra things to upgrade what I'm doing. Now, if you're starting from ground zero, you don't know anybody, you got no connections, you're not sure what you're producing is going to hit or not, then yeah, I can lean towards what you're saying. But at the end of the day, my only point is from a point of view of looking at city government and looking at investors, there's a lot of people who are not black who start off both. That's why I say, why can't we have both? And I'll leave you on that. I don't want to have a last word. I don't want to exceed the 20 minutes that
well, I'm going to ask E. I'm going to ask E what he would rather have. Hey, Brian, always great talking to you, brother. We appreciate you. We really do.
No doubt.
All right. E, let me ask you, bro. You there?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have enough capital to sustain for 5 years as a business? Because I know you have side business. You do some things. Would you rather have enough money to sustain your business for 5 years without making a profit? That's kind of hard. Just say 3 years without making a profit. Or would you rather have a business that you can sustain off the public, the people?
If I had to choose one, I guess it would be, I would rather have the support.
Makes sense.
Because if I had the capital, I would be using that to grow my business as opposed to, just sustain it, because I'm already sustaining it.
Right.
So I would use that capital to grow my business. But let me say this, with regard to when we talk about the quality of the good or the service that we're presenting, sometimes I feel like that only go for certain businesses. For example, if you when we're looking at the restaurant business, because that's what we started off talking about, we're looking at the restaurant business. That place to have people lined up all around the corner, Alabama Fish, I've been in there. Number one, I don't like their fish. All right. But that's a personal preference. But number two, they don't got no great service. It's not like you walking up in there and, you're treated like a loyal, respectful customer. No, they're not. It's not even, I never felt that way. It's like, all right, hurry up. What's your order? All right, here's your penny. I don't know why they always slide me that penny before I even give them some money. Then, at the time, I don't know if they do now because I ain't been down there in a minute. They don't take debit cards. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not the best service, but we act like it's the best food and the best service on the planet. But again, we go to an African-American restaurant and we get better service, but maybe something is lacking a little bit. And somebody said, why is it wrong for us to call out Black businesses for bad service? It's not wrong, but I don't hear you calling out all of these other businesses for bad service. I've been in radio for over 20 years. And I don't think I fielded one call, not one, about how bad the service is at Alabama Fish. And I guess maybe it's just we just accept it as bad service, but y'all like the fish. But when Mahogany's was down there, man, I got calls, fielded calls about how bad her service was from people who never even went to the restaurant. So it's like you said, some of it is a mindset that we have to change, but we'll accept it from certain people, and then we'll expect 5-star service. And if we get 4.5-star service, oh, that's the worst. They need to do something. They need to fire people. They need to hire a new service. They need to check their attitude. They need to this. They need to that. But come on, and it's not just Alabama. I go to a lot of restaurants where the service ain't amazing.
I mean, we all
hear people calling in, complaining, publicly excoriating those white businesses when they don't get good. You just accept that that was bad service from them, and you move on. The only one I hear about is Popeyes. Every once in a while, I hear somebody talk about how bad the service is at Popeyes. But other than that,
really,
you don't really hear it.
You know, I'll be honest with you, bro. Maybe it's just me, but if I have a problem with a restaurant, I don't give a damn what color the ownership is. I usually let them know that I have an issue. I'm not a big guy on making public comments about my service, you know, the service in different places. Like if I have a bad experience at Popeyes, I generally don't say that out in the open. If I have a bad experience, let's say at Mahogany's, which quite frankly, without sounding like a hater, I did. My very first time going to Mahogany's, I had a bad experience. However, a week later, I was back down there. Just because I had a bad experience doesn't mean that I should stop supporting the business. Now, if there's
and Wyatt, I'm not even saying I'm not saying you won't get, but like you said, if you have a bad service at Mahogany, you talk to the manager, whatever, and you know what I'm saying, y'all kind of work that out. But you don't go on a public campaign,
right?
To trash her business. I've been at a number of restaurants. The fanciest restaurant in Cincinnati, Red Lobster. I had bad service there. I had bad service there. But I didn't come on the radio bashing Red Lobster because my cheese biscuits wasn't up to par. And the lady, you know, we had to wait around. And I watched them lobsters too long play around in that tank. It shouldn't have been that long. But you didn't hear me mounting a public campaign to trash. We all experience that. But for whatever reason, when we experience it and it's an African-American, not always, because I don't want to say we do it all the time. I mean, I don't turn on the radio and it's just let's bash a Black Business Day every day. But you know, when certain things is going down, some of us go out of our way to bash Black. It was like we wanted to see that woman's life fall apart. And people went on, and when I tell you people who legit, I'm not making it up, people who had never been to the restaurant were very vocal about how bad the service was. And I was like, well, what did you order? Well, I wasn't even there. What? Hold on. You complaining and you never even went to the restaurant. No, I ain't been there and I ain't gonna go because the service bad. You don't know, but you've been listening to what everybody's been saying.
That's so common. But generally, man, that's a form of they don't even understand how they're hurting an individual's business. Someone that has tons of sweat equity, their own capital, they don't understand what they're doing to that individual, man.
They understand.
And you know what?
They understand.
Well, no, they truly don't. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing, and I hate to sound like Mr. Elitist and all that old shit. I don't care. They can call me whatever they want to call me. But most people that have that same struggle and fight, they don't do that to one another. And what I mean by that is most people that have been out here as an entrepreneur, putting it all on the line, we give more shots to businesses than anybody. We understand the day that you run out of them biscuits. We understand that things are slow, which are staffing. We understand that things are going bad for you at the moment, but we'll give you another shot because we all have been there. It's always people who ain't got no skin in the game that got the most to say. Now,
Well, no,
like
I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
and what I'm saying is, if you ain't never put no money up to be a business owner, I'm not saying you don't have the right to criticize, but it's a different type of hit. It's a different type of you understand apology more when you've been in these people's spaces. That's all I'm saying, bro. I'm not saying you're not entitled to criticize, but like you said, bro, do you know how crazy that sounds for somebody to sit back and say, I didn't like Liz, whatever, Mahogany's. I didn't like that place. Yeah. My cousin Tika, she told me that shit was crazy down there. But have you ever been there and ate? No, I ain't going down there because Tika and them told me the shit was crazy. Now, you sound ridiculous to me. And not only do you sound ridiculous, if she's even telling the truth about what Tika and them said, I got a problem with the fact that Tika and them would say anything like that and steer people away from the business. Versus you go down there and have your own experience and judge it for yourself. And we got a whole lot of that going on, bro. It don't just go in the restaurant and food service business. No, it's us. Like I said, I came on the air today when we started. I said, I don't really personally go down to the jazz festival anymore, but I wasn't trying to shed a bad light on it. Like everybody has their own, own flow, everything. My personal reason that I don't go is for this reason. But it wasn't because, oh yeah, I went there and I remember when them dudes was fighting on the square in 2003. And here it is 2022. And I'm still talking about some shit from 2003, trying to distort people's mind and try to convince them not to patronize businesses and have fun. That wasn't the purpose of that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right, brother. Hey, I got a question for you.
All right.
I got a question. I'm shifting gears just a little bit. How much time we got, E? All right, we've been on. We got what, 30 minutes or so, something like that.
Yeah.
Can you hang for 30 more? Oh, you know what? I got a phone call. I'm sorry. I got AP on the line, man. AP, you still there? Oh shit, here you go. AP, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Wyatt.
I'm sorry about that, bro. We got carried away. E-Man was talking
hold on.
I know. I was just like, wow, they put down my hold.
Hold on one second, AP. What you say, E?
Can he hear me?
Can you hear Emmanuel, AP?
He's kind of low, but I can hear him.
Okay, go ahead. He said you're a little low, but he can hear you.
All right, let me say this to the people. Wyatt don't like black people. That's why he don't answer y'all calls and he puts y'all on hold for 50 minutes trying to get through. There's another number, 717 King. If you call that number, I don't leave you on hold for 32 minutes.
He knew that you was talking too damn much. That's why we couldn't get through. That's why he couldn't get a word in. I kept trying to let you know I got to call her. AP, the floor is yours, bro. What's happening?
Yeah, no, all good, man. What about y'all?
Chilling, man. What's
happening? It's all good.
Yeah, I was just calling in to talk about the first part of the conversation when it started out with promoting being black, being a black business owner. I think you can do it, just like you see in other establishments. People got their picture up on the wall as being the proprietor, a staff picture, being a black-owned business. I would think if you really about your people, you're gonna try to hire as many of your own people as possible. So you got your staff picture up. So I think you can promote being a black business without actually having dashikis and African carvings all over the place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
So
yeah, I hear you.
I think you can do it. I mean, you don't have to be out there stomping, out there on your business. I'm here for my hood. I'm here to my hood. But there's a way to go about doing anything.
Yeah. I agree, AP. I agree. Let me say something to you, AP, since you said that. It's 30 seconds. I had a person, and you probably heard me say this before, AP, on the show, on Wyatt Live. I had an individual that I respected, loved, grew up with, and when I first started my business, He told me when I was talking about doing commercials on local television, he told me, make sure when you run those commercials that you stay out of the picture. That's a black man. Told me to stay out of the picture. Don't get in those commercials. Y'all know the commercials locally. I don't want to give them too much love. They ain't paying us to do this. But you got the gentleman and his daughter, and it's we'll save you a lot of money. Everybody know that commercial, All Good or whatever they're called. That man's been on that television with his daughter since she was so little high. Now he's a grandfather. She done got kids and everything, and everybody know that jingle and everybody know those commercials. I was told 20 years ago by a person that I love and respected, man, don't put yourself on that camera. People ain't gonna do business with you if they know you black. And see, what I don't understand is why we had that belief, bro. It's true. Should I have followed? Because I followed that. But I look back on it now, and I feel really bad that I followed the lead on that. Because I don't know if I would have been as successful or what. I don't know.
Can I jump in? Can I jump in?
Sure.
Can I say there is a difference with the All Gone or whatever commercials, the company that you're talking about? Because I know a lot of people who have watched the commercials and didn't know that they was black. So there's if you can pass, then you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to be careful about what I say, but I'll just say they are aware that a lot of people can look at them and not tell that they are black, and that's why they're comfortable going on there
They're not
doing those
black.
commercials.
They're not black. They're not those white folks, bro. You on the All Good commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are white folks. Those are white people. Not, I mean, you know,
Right.
that what I'm saying
Right.
is somebody talked me into not doing what they were doing. I would have loved to have my wife of 22 years, my daughters on my commercial, and I was steered
Wyatt.
in a direction not to do it.
Wyatt. I have it on real good authority that they are not white people.
The All Good, the
They
brothers,
are not.
I mean,
They are not white people. That's a
what are
black
they?
owned. That's a black owned business. That's a
That
black
man-
man and his daughter.
Black man? That ain't no black man, bro.
That's why you see him on the commercial.
No. AP, do you know what commercial we talking about?
I've heard the commercial, man, but I can't really picture it in my head right now.
Man, I gotta take a survey. These are, bro. I'm not saying that they Indian Hill white guys and all, you know, all that old. They not blonde hair, blue eyed, and all that. Those people are white on that commercial, bro.
Look, here, all I'm gonna tell you, because it's certain things that you learn. All I'm gonna tell you is that I know, I won't say I know them personally. I ain't never been to their house, but they advertised with our radio station for a while, and I've been in their presence. And let me just tell you, those are black people, or at least they identify as black people.
Well, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe that's the wrong commercial to use, but do they look white? Do they look black to you on the commercial?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why they comfortable going on there, because they can pass as not being, but had they been dark-skinned people, they might have made that same decision that somebody told you. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying whether it's good, bad, right, wrong. I'm just saying.
I don't. Hey, AP, I'm gonna let you finish, but let me just say this to you, bro. I don't give a damn what person walk into the radio station talking that hip hop. I'm cool. I'm down. That don't mean. I know a lot of white chocolate dudes that come in and think they part of the hood and try to act down and all that. Them white folks, man. I know they got curly hair and all this. Them white guys, man. Them white people. And it don't really matter. But I'm just being honest. I can't. No. That girl been like, I save you a lot of money all that time, man. And I'm looking at the grandkids. And,
all right.
Nah.
Now, what I will say though.
Okay, go ahead, AP.
If you remember, you see, 2 presidents ago, they came out with this, because they always go for the big news splash. They came out with this first black president of the University of Cincinnati. What was his name? Williams, I believe. His last name was Williams. He wrote a book that he didn't know he was black until he was, I don't know, early teens or preteens or whatever, or something like that. But if you looked at him, you could not tell he was black. So there are still people like that.
Yeah.
He got let go because of some stuff. I don't know what happened actually, but anyway. But and then again, going back to the gentleman that you mentioned, why, I mean, he might have been talking from past experience. I don't know about 20 years ago if it still would have been the same, but I'm sure at some time, I'm sure in in history, I would give it that, yeah, it was probably best not to be in the forefront of owning a business if you wanted everybody to patronize your business. Now, like I said, he might have been talking from past experience in his day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it ended or was still going on 20 years ago. But again, like I said, I think you can do it today subtly. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to have dashikis hanging up and African carvings all over the place to let people know that you're a Black-owned business. You can still have being a proprietor, your picture up and your staff picture up. Hopefully, would be a majority of your own people. So people will come in and see, yeah, hey, okay, Black man owns this place.
Yeah, but
or Black woman owns this place.
I agree. Listen, I'm kind of beating myself up that I didn't do it many years ago. Now I don't know if it would have been successful or if it would have failed, but we don't live in the world that we lived in 20 years ago. So yeah, it's
Right.
fair to say, AP, that yes, you could be on to that. Maybe 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been wise for me to do that. But in today's temperature, in today's world, I wouldn't have a problem doing it, quite frankly. And I'm trying to send this
Good.
picture over here to us so we can see it, because I got a feeling I'm about to show it to the world. What else you got? What else you got, AP? What's good, man?
Also, before I go, I got E out. He talking about he don't bash businesses. He bashed Chipotle for running out of cilantro.
Uh-oh.
He bashed Golden. Was it Golden Corral?
He didn't bash them.
Yeah, they didn't have they changed the honey butter recipe.
What?
Or
Hold
something.
on. Stop. No, Anthony.
So he did that on radio. So he bashed them.
Anthony, I did not bash. I just pointed out that they changed the honey butter to now they have a recipe, and whatever stuff they have, that ain't butter. So I just pointed that out, and I pointed out that Chipotle talking about it's a cilantro shortage is a lie. That's all I'm saying. I'm not bashing them because I still support them. I would go give me one of them Chipotle bowls.
Both of those. He wouldn't let it go.
He was bashing. He bashed
He was bashing
Golden Corral. Golden Corral, though.
Bruh, you seen
else
that
was
new honey butter?
And
That new
Chipotle,
stuff?
because they ran out of cilantro.
Wow. Yeah, he a hater.
I
on some shit.
I
He
didn't
had
bash.
a fit.
I didn't bash. I was upset.
Hell no. These are white folks on the screen here, bro.
For 2 weeks, he was upset for 2 weeks over some damn cilantro.
Hey, I got it on the screen now, E. Can you see that? AP,
I can see it. I can see
y'all
it.
see that?
Those are definitely the people that I'm talking about.
And first of all,
what
let
I'm
me
telling
say this to you. That girl didn't start out with curly hair back in when this commercial first started. I bleeped out the phone number and all that. They not paying us. But I wish I could play the commercial, but I'm not going to do it on the air right now. But look, bro, I'm telling you, I mean, maybe you got a point with, they could pass, to be honest with you, but they look like Black folks to me. Now, the little girl, the grandkid, tends to look like maybe she had a biracial situation going on. Maybe the young girl, maybe the daughter dated a Black guy or an Italian guy, something of that nature. But they look white to me, man, and they come off as that. And it doesn't really matter. I'm just saying that some of us don't have that comfortability of advertising our business to the entire community because we don't feel we'll get the community's support. And that's not the community. That's not white people's problem. That's us. If we don't feel like we can invest in a business, and if we don't feel like we can cater to our community and feel like we'll be successful, that's on us. Can't blame nobody else. There's a reason why the banks was full down there, E, and there's segregation at its finest over the weekend. There's a reason for that. I'd like to know what that reason is.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Anthony still on the line?
He's still on here, man.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just curious.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
know.
Anything else, Eve? I mean, Anthony, what you got, bro? Anything?
No, man, that was it. That was it.
So
you guys got a great show. I appreciate it.
So, wait a minute, hold on. I ain't gonna let you off the hook because we got to get him. So you saying that E criticized the businesses? That's where you left. Okay, all right. We ain't gonna let him off that.
Like I said, he bashed them. I mean, especially the Toronto thing. He was all over there, all over the Chipotle.
Mm-hmm. Talking all this shit.
I mean,
well, at least it was a big business. At least it was a corporate flagship type of business. I'll be honest with you. I've never heard E bashing a small business. You know, one of our small businesses. I never really heard him do that. So at least it's a business that even if he talk about them, they can recover.
Right.
You know, I give him that.
That was it, man. I just thought I'd call in about the promoting being a black business. That's all.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, AP. Talk to you soon, man.
Yes, sir.
All right,
have
man.
a good one.
Later. I got to do this. Can you hear me? I don't hear you. Hold on.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Okay, I got to do this again. I got to show the picture again, and you're going to. I mean, I just need you to tell me. These are black people you trying to tell me.
Here's what I'm trying to tell you. And again, I can't say it you off air. But I'm gonna tell you that that brother up there identifies as a black man.
So he must have got some type of minority loan or some shit.
Maybe not out publicly, because again, it's business, man. Look, if I could pass for a white man, I might be doing conservative talk, bashing, saying, let's go Brandon, and making a boatload of money. And everybody would be like, yeah, he's one of us. And then secretly, I'll be thinking, yeah, y'all just don't know. But what I'm telling you is, let me say this.
I don't even like how you just said that. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that you said if you was a light-skinned dude and you could pass as being white, you would sit back and talk conservative and make a ton of money. I mean, you could honestly say that you could be a light-skinned dude or a dark-skinned dude, talk a lot of shit and be a left-winger make a lot of money because they do that.
No, the reason I'm saying it is because if you're decent in the talk game and you're a conservative, you can make a whole lot of money as a white conservative. That's just the truth.
Wait a minute. So you telling me that those same light-skinned white guys, light-skinned dudes and all that shit that talk on the other end of conservativeness aren't making a lot of money?
Which dudes?
Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is not necessarily light-skinned. He wears
Al Sharpton. What I'm telling you is that, again, Al Sharpton being at the top end, if he was just a talk show host, he's probably at the top end of black talk in terms of money, but he is not a Rush Limbaugh. You know what I'm saying? Okay. A Rush Limbaugh, a Sean Hannity, a Tucker Carlson.
Don Lemonade. Y'all know I call Don Lemon Lemonade. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it. Don Lemon got a whole lot of shit in this world.
Oh no, but again, you talking about, I named those people not because of their TV, but because of their radio. And in strictly talk radio, there is a lot of money in conservative talk radio. A lot.
On the contrary, there's a lot of money on both sides. It's an even. Oh, yes. Now, you would know better than me because you have a radio history. I just disagree, but I don't have the salaries in front of me to prove. But I'm looking at people like Don Lemon and these guys.
Don Lemon is not a radio talk show.
I get it. But the whole world has changed. Talk radio is now podcasts. It's not the same. So it's a whole different it's a whole different thing anyway. You're talking about in the past when Rush Limbaugh and all them guys were doing radio. But I'm saying those same guys, if Rush Limbaugh was here today and doing that conservative shit that he was doing, it would be a podcast today. It wouldn't be radio. It wouldn't be what was that satellite radio that made them all tons of money? Look at Joe Rogan. These guys are now, the new way is radio podcasts.
And Joe Rogan being way up there, he got some jacked up points of view. And while he do comedy and all of that kind of stuff, other than that, he's really borderline conservative. And he can do that in that space, in this space. Whereas, he brought a lot of other stuff to it, but that conservativeness, that conservativosity, that brings him a lot of viewers and a lot of money.
Okay. There's a lot of people on podcasts that speak just the opposite of conservative talk.
And they're not making that Joe Rogan money.
Well, Joe Rogan is the highest paid, period. Okay. Right. He's the one that got the 300 million. That's him. That's just one individual who happens to be on that side of conservative. I don't even know if Joe Rogan is conservative. Is he? I didn't think he started out that way. I don't think I don't listen to him, so I don't really know, but I don't know him to be conservative. I never knew that.
Look, all I'm telling you is, and again, first, let me strictly in terms of radio, there is a whole lot of money in conservative talk radio. And then while that money will get spread around between black people and white people, the lion's share of it is going to white male conservatives. And you can get, or at least you probably still could, you can get in the white male conservative or in the conservative talk radio game, and you can make some money if you decent at doing it. Whereas in terms of the if you want to call it the liberal or progressive talk, now one reason is because liberal and progressive talk, they do it wrong. They forsake the entertainment and shock value of it. So they're trying to have integrity and all of that kind of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there's not as much money in there, nowhere near, like not even close. If you wanted to get into the radio game, the best move to make in terms of talk, the best move to make is to be a conservative. And the hardcore conservatives who are decent and can do a show and be entertaining, you gonna make a lot of money. And there's been a lot of black men that did it. But that's why I was saying, if I could pass and I was going to be in the radio game, I would have been a hardcore conservative passing, and I would have been making that Rush Limbaugh money instead of that. What's the other brother, the bald head dude? He's a black conservative, Armstrong Williams. I wouldn't have been making Armstrong Williams money. I would have been making Rush Limbaugh money if I could pass.
I think they all trying to get Rush Limbaugh money or Joe Rogan money, even conservative and left wing or whatever. What do we call the other side other than conservative?
They call it progressive.
Progressive. Okay. I would have to say that there are people making a ton of money on each side. And I don't know if it's fair to say because one or two on the conservative side, because they make the most money. I don't know if it's fair to say that that's the side that's making the most money because those individuals have the larger contracts compared to how many people on the progressive side and how many people are on the conservative side. I think, quite frankly, they both have their lane and they make a lot of them make money on both sides. You're just going to have
money,
a superstar
but they don't.
On both
the
sides. Reason
that there are so many over there on that conservative side,
there's a lot on the
because there is so much money. Hey, I got a call coming in. Let's take this call. No idea who it is. Caller, you're on. Oh no, caller.
Hi.
Hey, you're on.
Hi, Emmanuel.
Hi.
Hey,
I
Wyatt.
was
This
about to
is
say that.
Mary. This is the Queen.
Hey, Mary.
I was calling. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Because,
Hi.
and that guy who was passing, we have a family thing going on in our family because my grandmother, who is biracial, was biracial. She's been gone a while. She had 4 brothers, and they all passed for white. So when they passed for white, we don't know where 3 of
Cut
them
up,
went
E.
to,
Cut it out.
which is really weird. You know what I'm saying? And on my DNA, from our ancestry DNA, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hold on. They're saying they might
Okay.
be having an issue hearing you. So let me.
Can
turn you
somebody
up.
let us know? Because she's very low on my end. Can somebody in the audience let us know if y'all can hear Miss Mary?
Go ahead, Mary.
Go ahead, Mary.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's real weird because, like I said, I have 3 great uncles that's my grandmother's brothers that passed for white. We had 4 of them, but I remember my mom said one of them had died. He lived here in Cincinnati, and he worked in a bank, and he didn't trust the banks, you know, to put his money in, even though he worked in the bank, and he loved black women, so he had a black wife. He ended up murdering his black wife, killing his homicide, suicide type thing. And my grandmother, you know, my mom had to go over and find the scene and clean it up and all of that. But so on my ancestry DNA, it says like that I'm a quarter Caucasian, European, whatever. But it's showing that I have a lot of cousins that are closer in DNA match to me that are Caucasians being my black cousins that I know. So for this man that you're saying he is a black man that you just showed us on that commercial is mind-boggling to me because I know that happens in my family. And then I have a daughter. We were just talking about this weekend because my daughters were in town. And my one daughter, her other grandmother on her dad's side is biracial. So on my daughter's DNA, she's saying, Mom, it's showing I'm 48% European, you know, and it's really weird. So I can believe that he is. After you look at that at him, he could be, you know, he could be passing, which is really strange today. But thank you for letting me share this.
All right,
Appreciate you, Miss Mary.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Good afternoon.
And you know, when you say passing, yes, kind of passing, but kind of not. If y'all don't ever come out and say I'm a white man, I just get out and do what I do, and you assume I'm a white man, am I really passing? You know, in that way? I don't know. I don't know how to look at it.
That's true. That's true. I guess I just assumed, and maybe that was a bad thing for me, but I used him as an example because he had no problems putting his family out there, you know, on his commercials. And I just, you know, you don't really see us doing that often. We have insurance companies. We have a lot of different companies out here that we could be family oriented, you know, our real estate companies, people, you know, that we have families too, and we can represent the family structure. And we're selling the American dream as a family structure. And you know, we don't advertise our family incorporated with our business. We just don't do that often. And I'll just be honest and tell you, it wasn't I made the decision, but it wasn't, I was influenced not to do that. And I think AP brought up a good point when he said, you know, that was 20 years ago, Wyatt. It may have not been a good opportunity, you know, a good thing to do then. So I just have to chalk it up as times have changed a little bit. So even if the dude is, which hey, bro, I just can't find it in myself to say that this is, you know, and I got some brothers that I know, I mean, that are totally light skinned and got gray eyes, cat eyes, and all that old shit, man. I can just tell a brother when I see one. I don't care. You know, I got brothers that lived in the law home, that lived in law homes, that lived in English Woods and the Fay, that was looking, you know, they looked like they had features, you know, gray eyes and all that, bro. You can see, I can tell a brother. I can tell, you know.
All right.
I can tell. But I ain't brother vibes out of him.
I support the brother. All right, Wyatt, and we got like about 10 minutes and we're talking about this stuff. Let me ask you, you pointed out to me something that happened at a parade with a Sesame Street character.
Oh, you want
And
to go there?
you sent me to the video and you said, check this out and give me your thoughts. So first, I guess I want you to give me your thoughts and then I'll share my thoughts. Do you have a video?
I don't have the video. I thought you was gonna talk about the preacher.
Oh, we could talk about the preacher too. Well, then let's talk about
I got Choir Boy on here with me. I want to talk about the preacher. Let's take a survey. Let's take a survey. Is it fair to put it out on the table for the people to tell us what they want to see? And whatever they decide, I'm willing to do that. Is that fair?
All right. Yeah, the people decide.
I mean, I know you the king. I know you the king. Is it okay if we put it on the table for the people?
Look, I'm a king for the people. So
Okay.
I'm always down with the people.
Okay. And listen, I'm not trying to say that, you know, like, I know that we come in different shades. I'm starting to get a little pushback for my comment, I guess, because listen, have you seen me? Can you look at me and tell that I'm a light-skinned brother that I've been through some shit? All right. People have actually I was called white boy growing up. Okay. Do you know how that feels to be in the hood and to be called like in a diminishing kind of way, like, shut up, white boy? I mean, that was trauma to me, to be amongst my brothers and my sisters and be called something like that.
Hey, I've always been told, which is always, somebody said it on here today, like, Emmanuel, you talk white. I'm like, I don't talk anything that sounds close to white, but I've been hearing that my whole life.
Yeah, well, you know, I hate. Now, if I hate anything, this is one that I hate with a passion. Whenever you have proper dialect, or, you know, when your dictation is good, when you speak, you know, I guess you could say proper. Why do people look at us and say things? Not necessarily me, but why do people, you know, have a problem with people that have, you know, when they speak well? Why is it that you talk white? Like white is right. That bothers me.
See, I don't know that that's what it is. And this is why I have an issue with it. Like, I don't have an issue with people saying it. I just don't understand what it is that they're hearing.
I got a problem with it.
I'm gonna explain why I don't have a problem with it. I don't think I sound white at all. Like, at all. Like, if I called your house and was like, yeah, I'm calling about your Duke bill, you'd be like, you ain't calling about no Duke bill. You know what I'm saying? I don't sound like that at all. But now I do understand when people talk about people talking white. It's not even about conjugating verbs correctly. It's not about
it's not what?
It's not about people conjugating their verbs correctly. It's not about the speaking proper or any of that kind of stuff. I don't even know how to describe what it is. It's that, like, it's even, I don't know how to describe. Like, yeah, I can't do it, and I don't know how to describe it, but I've heard it, and it is a thing, and I've always figured that it's more of a look as I don't know where this comes from culturally. I think black people speak from a different space than white people, if that make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't talk like this because that's just not how I talk. I don't speak from that space. I speak from a different space, and there's a different tone. Even if you saying the exact words the exact same way, it comes from a different place many times when black people speak. Now, somebody gonna say this is ignorant, and y'all might be telling the truth. It might be ignorant and just my ignorant thoughts. But we speak from a different place, so it sounds different, even if you're properly conjugating all your verbs and enunciating and all of that kind of stuff. It's a different sound. And it does irritate the hell out of me when I hear a brother or a sister talking from that other space. It's annoying. It's annoying as hell. And I don't even know where coming from some people say it's all up in the throat, but I feel like it's all up
It's
in
a
the
nasal.
throat, in the
It's a
throat and the
nasal
nose.
talk, bro.
Yeah, and
It's like,
that's
yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm with you. I'm talking about people when you use proper dictation. I'm talking about when somebody says, "Oh, you talk white," as if I had broken English or Ebonics, that makes me black. Like, I don't understand. We shouldn't do that. We
I
shouldn't do
agree.
that. That's where I have a problem. Because to be honest with you, bro, let me tell you the funniest thing that I run into sometimes is people that sound articulate and they use the grammar wrong. They use the verbs and all that. They use it wrong. And that's funny. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I can come off as being articulate in certain spaces, but yet my grammar, based on me growing up saying certain words in certain times, that sometimes never goes away. That's kind of I won't say genetic, that's ridiculous, but that's hereditary. When you grow up in those areas, man, some of this stuff never leaves you. It's normal. You can't grow up with a school teacher or grammar teacher as your mother. That wasn't me, but I'm just saying most kids who may have an educator in the home seem to have a dictation that's a little bit different than others. But that don't mean that you should be calling them white talk or whatever. You talk like you white. That's crazy. That's kind of crazy to me. I think that's kind of diminishing who we are. And that word Ebonics, and when people fool us and clown us about that, and it's like, wait a minute, hold on, but you understood what I was saying. You understood exactly what I was saying. So don't clown me of my dictation. I said what I said, but you understood me. If I say I'm coming over there to kick your ass, you knew exactly what I meant the way I said it. All right. If you said whatever it is, man, it's just how we do each other so wrong, bro. I don't ever hear other people making fun of us like that. I mean, there's sometimes I've run into a situation where I was in front of some white folks and they may have paid more attention because you come off a little bit more articulate versus if you come at them and they feel like you come in ignorant. I think we all can agree that there is a certain way that you have to approach certain situations. And when you're trying to get a bank loan, when you're doing business, when you're in need, or when talking to someone and you need them, you should be on your best behavior, or you should be able to deliver from the best aspect. Your best delivery should be able to come forward.
All right. I think the people voted everything that I've seen, and the people want to talk about the preacher.
Is that right? Well, the people have spoken.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at the comments. I only saw one Sesame Street.
Me
maybe
too.
two.
It says something about Crump got involved and it's
Yeah.
crazy and blah, blah, blah. We can always go back to that one other time, man. We got a few minutes. So if you want to get into this, I can either run the tape or I can set the tone of what's going on, bro. But did you hear over the weekend that a preacher, a bishop, got robbed in his church while giving his service? I got questions on this.
I want to see the video.
All right.
Because they was live streaming, right?
Oh, it was live. Now I want to warn everybody now. This video, did that sound official? The video is graphic. There's an actual robbery. What do they call that shit in the police? A 1084 or some shit. It's graphic. The preacher is actually preaching. The bishop is actually preaching at the moment. And I'll run the video and let people see what happens. All right. I think this is the actual video of let me just make sure, E, before I hit the button, just to make sure that we have the proper one. I want to make sure that, because I have two. I have the news story and then I have the actual footage of being robbed.
All right.
So I'm going to run the full video. It's about a minute and a half long. And I just want people to see. Folks, E, I want you and the people, I need y'all to pay close attention to the reaction to the people in the church. There's only one person you can see. Pay close attention to his ass. And he's a deacon. Please pay attention to the deacon. All right, roll that shit.
Saw somebody else die. What you about to go through? Yo. All right. All right. Yo, all right. Nobody move.
Nobody move. Come on, hustle. Come here. Nico, go. Stay. Don't move. Come here. Come here. Come. Go to your mom. Go to your mom. Go to your mom. Go. Just stay there, okay? Come on. Come on, Jalen. Just don't worry about the fucking iPad. Come on. It's this way.
I got questions. I got questions. First of all, before you say something, before you say anything, I gotta let you know what the hell the report is gonna say. And what I mean when I say the report is the police report and the insurance. First of all, the bishop is saying that he lost $1 million worth of jewelry and thousands of dollars worth of cash that the robbers took. All right, I'm just gonna set the tone. Bruh, did you see his deacon? I thought deacons was supposed to be the dude that slowed shit down in the church. Like, you ain't about to do this up in here.
Well,
What was up with his deacon?
let me say this. Number one, I don't know that was a deacon. I'm not sure
That's
who
true.
he was, but I don't know that was a deacon. Number two, he didn't look concerned, and that was concerning to me. Like, I get, don't move, I'm frozen, but he didn't look like, he looked really casual. He didn't look concerned. Like,
You know what he looked like? You know what he looked like? He looked like, I'll meet y'all at 7:30 like we planned.
I don't know all of that, but he didn't look all that concerned.
You didn't see him do like this? You didn't see him do like 7:30 tonight.
Bishop
He at the
was,
spot.
if you look at the beginning, Bishop was shocked when they came in and laid on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Smart.
The
If
bishop,
you look if you look at the brother on the side, he didn't look shocked. Like, it wasn't like, oh, what's going on? Oh, okay, well, let me be still. He just looked, but you never know. He might have been in
They
a few
made it on
churches.
time.
He might have been in a few churches that's been robbed before, so he just knew, he knew
Oh,
what
he
to do.
used to that. Well, here's the thing, though, E. This particular deacon, it was involved in something a little bit ago. Okay, and what I mean by that, I'm not trying to give the deacon, I don't want to be struck down by God because that's one of his angels or whatever. But this particular bishop has been involved in something here recently. Remember in Brooklyn, there was a shooting on the subway of a black man who shot some Asians and some white people. And this particular bishop actually, I don't know if he knew him, but he knew of him. So he had communication in trying to convince this young man to turn himself in. He then turned around to the police and said, I've had communications with this man. We're going to turn him in. We're going to do this our way, blah, 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 blah. The police took his information and went and got the dude, and it looked like he lightweight snitched on the guy. So he, the bishop, now turns around and says that he he's been a target in the community because the community has turned on him, like he snitched on the dude who did the shooting in the subway, and he said he's had a target on his back ever since then. But now here's my question to you, E.
All right.
I don't frequent a lot of churches on Sundays and during the week. I really don't. I'll do better. I'll do better. But my question to you is this, bro. How many bishops, pastors, and preachers do you know wear $1 million worth of jewelry the day that they preaching? Is that unusual or is that regular?
Well, I'll say this. I don't know any, but there are some really flamboyant preachers and stuff out there who are flashy and all of that kind of stuff. I know that does exist. It's never been the case at a church that I've ever gone to, but I know that it does exist. And I don't understand it. I wouldn't wear $1 million worth of jewelry to preach it. Why? I don't know what it is that you're trying to do doing that. But my other concern is if you, because you know what I'm saying, you got some like really small churches that, I mean, their collection is probably about $30 a week. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm dead serious. They don't make,
You said $30 a week?
Yeah, some really small churches that don't bring in a whole lot of money, and they out there just making it by. I could kind of understand them not having some armed security, because if you come in and you rob us, you get about $30, $35. But if you are a decent sized church or whatever, why do you not have security? Even if not, I wouldn't even think security in terms of being robbed. Security in terms of, people crazy walking up in church and shooting people. We've seen that a number of times. So why would you not have some security of some sort somewhere in your church? It feels irresponsible.
Hey, man, any pastor, bishop, or whatever, preacher that can afford $1 million around your neck and on your arm and on your pinky, if you can afford that, or if you got that on you, you probably can afford security in your church.
Well,
and
hold on, let me say this. Let me say this. Go ahead. Why? I don't think he had $1 million worth of jewelry or anything else on him, because I saw his set. I saw the set, and they're using an iPad for the camera. I saw his lights. My lights are better than his lights. He ain't got no $1 million worth of nothing. So I think I'm with you. Wait
a minute, E. Wait a minute. You missing something, because I didn't play the other video. The other video that I have is him talking to the news reporters. Mm-hmm. And he described how they got him. And this is how I feel it to be more of an inside job than an actual robbery. Okay. Because in his news report, his interview, he said when they laid him down, they took all his jewelry that he had on off of him, took his watch off of him, and took his bishop ring off of him. And they also opened his robe and took all the jewelry that he had on under the robe. Now, this is a bishop who drives a Rolls Royce and wears Gucci and Louis Vuitton openly in the public. So he's flamboyant. He's very extravagant with how he lives. So it's possible that he had $1 million worth of jewelry on, or at least
why ain't got a better set, better life?
Because he takes care of himself better than he takes care of his set.
Okay, you're right. He's more important than the church.
Exactly, bro. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, this shit look foggy to me. And the reason being is because I can tell when somebody is in on it. And that dude sitting in the back, he was in on it. That dude was in on it, bro. I'm telling you. That dude, look, man, it's one thing if somebody come at you with a gun and they tell you don't move. I'm talking about I don't blink. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I've been there. I had a gun pointed at me before, and I was. But this dude had no look of concern on his face. Right. He wasn't looking around like, his wife or somebody in the audience, his family is out there. He has family members. There would be a level of making sure that everything, where my people at? Where my people at? there would be a look of concern. There would be a level of, look, one of the robbers took the ring off dude's finger and dropped the shit. Came back, he ain't had no gloves on. They made sure that a couple of the robbers ran into the television a little bit with the mask on. And here's the big thing. Witnesses seen the three guys coming out of the church, taking their clothes off, changing, and they got into a white Mercedes Benz. Bruh, the shit don't sound right to me. It sounds like an insurance heist. It sounds like he made sure, and if you listen to I can play it, it's a minute long. If you listen to the interview, that channel, whatever it was in Brooklyn, they did an interview with the pastor or with the bishop, and he made sure that he emphasized how they took the jewelry, how much the jewelry was worth, the whole nine, bro. And I think he's trying to set the precedent of, I had $1 million. I guarantee you his insurance claim will be all of that. All of that.
All right.
I don't know. What you think, E? What's your take on it? Do you think it was an inside thing? You think it was set up, or you think it's real?
I don't know. I am suspect of the dude that was sitting there. Cause again, you come in, if nothing else, I'm throwing my hands up, let you see I'm not your concern. I ain't just gonna be chilling like.
Listen, E, you're right. But listen, E, it was staged amongst a very, very few amount of people. The deacon was in on that shit. The pastor was in on it. And the three dudes that came in. The whole church and everybody else had not a clue what was going on. Because at the end of it, when everybody was running around like, sit your ass down, blah, 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 you can hear all of that. And the one mama is the mama of the world. She's the mama of the year. She told her little baby, she said, fuck that iPad. Let's get the fuck on up out of here. Did you hear that at the end?
She did. Hey, I was saying.
I don't even in the house of the Lord.
I don't remember her exact words, but yeah, she did. I was talking about that iPad.
It was all of that. I don't care where we at right now. Fuck that iPad, sister. Fuck that iPad. Grab that shit. Let's get up out of here. That's what she said. And I just don't imagine. I mean, everybody. Look, man, they wasn't in on it. Obviously, you can see the look. Everybody at the end of the video, you can see the look of concern. Even his wife. You can see that. Oh shit, I'm out of here. The guys are gone. They gone. But the dude in the back had no concern. And then you can hear the pastor, the bishop at the beginning. It was almost like he was waiting for them to come through the door. He was looking back there and he was like, hey, whoa, yo. Now, when you watch this interview, what he said he did is totally different than what he actually did. He told the news people, he told his congregation to get down. Everybody get down. I got this shit handled. Everybody get down. I got it handled. And E, the man hit the deck before anybody.
Yeah, he did.
He hit the ground and surrendered. He didn't even talk to his parishioners. Is that what they are? His congregation?
Yeah.
He didn't even say shit to them. He was like, whoa. And he was like, whoa. And then he hit the ground. They laid his ass down and he didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing. Can I show the interview? Some people asking for the interview.
Yeah, let's see the interview.
Let me, because it's only a minute long. And let me see if I can get it up. And y'all tell me if it's something that explains what we see here. Hold on, let me get the news run. Let's get the news run going. Here it is, E.
Tonight, a bishop in Brooklyn robbed at gunpoint in the middle of a church service, and the whole thing happened during a live stream.
Yo. All right. Yo, all right.
Bishop Lamar Whitehead says 3 men waving guns stole hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry from him and his wife. It happened about 9:30 this morning at Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in Canarsie. The bishop says he worried the thieves were coming in to shoot worshipers.
And when I see them come into the sanctuary with their guns, I told everybody, get out. Everybody just get out. Took my watch, took my jewelry, took my bishop's ring, took my wedding band. They took my bishop's.
Police say the thieves drove away in a white Mercedes Ladies, if Bishop White looks familiar, he ran for Brooklyn Borough President last year.
All I'm saying is, did you hear him tell his parishioners or his congregation to get down one time?
That might have happened before the clip we saw.
At what point? When he seen them guys coming, he was like, whoa, 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 whoa. He didn't say not one time, everybody get down. Everybody just give them what they want so they can leave. God bless them. Lord have mercy. I didn't hear one scripture. I didn't hear one prayer. I didn't hear anything other than, whoa, he was on the block. He got laid down like he was down on Lynn Street. That's what we say when you get laid down. It was no different. It was nobody else he didn't say nothing. And then he said that they took all his jewelry and they took his wife's jewelry. That sounds like an insurance claim to me, brother.
Well, look, I take the man's word for the stuff. You know, if he didn't know, he didn't know. I feel bad mocking him if it was straight up he had no idea and they came in and they stole his stuff. I feel bad for mocking him. It does feel a little weird, but you never know how you're gonna react in the situation until you in the situation. So I don't know if somebody came in to rob the church and I'm sitting back in the sound booth, I might just be chilling like, it's a damn shame they robbing us. You know, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. So, you know, it's unfair.
I'm saying jump in. I'm not saying come to the rescue. There's a level of concern that even yourself would have, though, bro. You would be like, God damn. You would be like, oh shit. You when you look for Mrs. Livingston, if you were sitting on the up there and your wife and the baby, you know, the grandbaby was out there, and you know they was just jamming to the choir. You know where they sitting. You know where they sitting. And somebody came in and walked from behind them from the back of the church and came up to rob and steal, whatever. You try to tell me you'll be sitting there still on that same with that same book.
Wyatt,
you wouldn't have any level of concern looking for your wife
Wyatt,
and making sure you
cool. This is what I'm telling you. I listened to you what was it, last week when we talked about not creating narratives without all the information, right? And so I'm trying to take that, because you know what I'm saying, I like to learn and grow. So I'm trying to take that and apply that to this situation. So I don't know for a fact that it was staged. The man he said everybody get down.
Did you hear that?
I didn't hear it, but he might have said it before the clip we saw. You know what I'm saying?
He said it before they walked in.
Nah, he might have saw him walk in and he said, everybody get down. Whoa.
No, bro. The video clearly shows when he first encounters these guys. He's never said.
He might
have
right before that. He might have said right before the video started.
Bro, he was listening to him preach. We were listening to him in his prayer, him preaching, and he looks up.
Maybe
he's like,
okay, so then maybe just from being traumatized in his mind, that's what he thought.
Why are you giving this dude an out? Why are you giving him an excuse?
In his mind, maybe he thought it. So, you know, having been in the situation, he thought he said it because the thought entered into his head.
Yeah, because a real preacher, a real bishop would have put his congregation ahead of himself. And he knew what he should have done, but he didn't. He didn't say shit about nobody else getting anything robbed. He didn't say anything like they took Miss Louise's hat on the way out. He didn't say that they took Miss Joanne's bracelet. He didn't say none of that shit. What he said was everything that he lost.
Look, that man just experienced a traumatic incident. He was laid down on the pulpit while people robbed him and took his jewelry. All right? If somebody take your jewelry, that upsets you. And who am I to stand in judgment of that man? He lost his bishop ring, he lost his bishop cross, and he lost the rest of his $1 million worth of jewelry. So,
yeah. Hey, E-Man, I'm speaking from experience. I ain't never had no $1 million worth of jewelry. Maybe this is the reason why I don't like jewelry today. But as a young man in my day, in Laura Holmes. I got robbed on the third floor coming from a friend's house, and I got robbed for my jewelry with a gun pointed at me. And I was coming down from visiting a friend, and I think she set me up. All right. But all that being said, I've been in this man's position. I remember everything I was thinking. I remember everything that I said. Number one, it was easy for me to remember what I said because I ain't say shit. All right. I ain't say nothing. Take the shit. You can have it. I know everything that I lost.
You just gave up your jury?
I gave it up.
All right.
I don't expect him to fight it. I don't expect him to fight, but I know you got to be from a certain place to understand people's reactions. When I seen that girl the next day, she knew the fuck got robbed. She knew it, so I knew she had something to do with it. She probably called them dudes like, "Oh yeah, he over here now. Come get him." And on his way, on my way out, bang. Man, I noticed that's a play. That's a play right there that just happened, bro. And the bishop back there, like he probably had to have somebody in on it because what if Bishop is really about it? What if he one of them dudes that would really jump up if something went down like that? And if he set this thing up and you set it up while you being recorded, so you not only have a police report, you have live stream, and a couple of the dudes even looked in the camera like, "Hey, my name is," but a few of them looked through the camera, you know, and you could tell they just wanted to make sure that the gun was seen. They wanted to make sure that they showed a full body with a mask on, bro. That was staged, bro. That was some stage shit to me. It was too perfect. It was perfect.
Hey, if you say so, you know what I'm saying? I'll take your word that that's what you believe. And, you know, we'll have to see as everything else shakes down. The man seemed traumatized in the interview about losing his jury. So
you do know this bishop, by the way. Thank you, Angela Kinney. I forgot about this. She reminded me, E. He did serve some time for fraud once before. Here's another fraudulent case that's coming up.
Maybe he learned his lesson, and these are people that he used to roll with or something like that. The bottom line is he lost his jury, and you know, it's sad. It's a sad situation either way you look at it.
Yeah, well, I just think that it was something that, you know, that I feel like, I don't know if it's embarrassing, but
$1 million.
Yeah, I mean, $1 million. I mean, what pastor or what bishop or whatever would wear $1 million? And it wasn't just him. It was his wife. It was a combination of everything that they lost. And you got a Rolls Royce outside. I mean, I don't know, E. It looks suspicious to me.
It looks suspicious to me too.
They didn't look in the camera. There was a camera shot of one of the dudes. That's how I knew he had on a half a ski mask. He had on one of those ski masks. Somebody did look in the camera. They didn't, like I said, they didn't make a comment into the camera, but you could see the face of an individual in the camera. Maybe you didn't see it on the video because it was a little crunchy, but I did see that.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it.
Okay, well, he just learned how to get away with it this time.
Maybe
the insurance company is going to know it is staged. Well, that's up to the insurance company to prove. If he has insurance policy on there, he's going to put it in a claim. They have to be able to prove that it was a stage or it was set up or he didn't actually lose it. And when you have it on Zoom or video and you have a real live trauma situation where you have your congregation in there crying and going crazy, it's kind of hard to say that didn't just happen. It's kind of hard to prove that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody did say they looked in the camera.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I'll be praying for the bishop and the church and the robber.
He gonna need it.
I'll be praying for him.
I'm sorry, E. I was reading a couple of the comments, bro. Anything else, man?
No.
Or you got anything else on that, or you got anything else going on? Anybody?
No, other than I am going to say the Sesame Street character thing. When I looked at it, it did kind of look like that character intentionally slighted those black kids, and I didn't like that.
Did he slight them because they were black kids, or did he slight them for a different reason?
Well, he high-fived and shook hands, whatever, with the white people that was right in front of him. So I don't know. I can't tell you what was in his mind, just like with that bishop. I can't tell you what was in his mind, but I can tell you what it looked like, and it looked like he just wasn't trying to deal with them black kids. But again, I don't know. I don't know.
So you do realize there were other black kids at the event. It's a parade. It's like the Disney parade. Let me see. Here's somebody said, Jerica Vaughn says, I bet Wyatt doesn't believe it was done because of race. I don't believe everything is done to people because of race. You're absolutely right. Now, I will give you my take on this particular matter. I don't know how many videos you've seen of this, but I'd like to ask, who was it? Jessica? I'd like to ask Jessica. Let me see. Let me make sure before I call out it. Jerica, I'd like to ask Jerica, has she seen any other videos of that same situation? How many kids out there were black, and how many were white, and how many kids did they walk past that were black? This was a 9-second video that showed the parade coming, and out of the 9 seconds, 4 seconds was an incident of what we're talking about. And just for Jerica, I normally don't do this. If you see that there's a comment or a question on here, Jerica Vaughn says, is Wyatt's wife white? I'm going to let that question sit on the table for a little while, even while I'm making my comments. I'm going to let that, because I don't avoid questions. I'm going to let that question linger out there for a little while, because I got these people around me called sandboxes who know me very well. And it's kind of like, even if that was the case, would that make me less than a man? You see what I'm saying? Would it make me less of an individual, or does it make my points less valuable when I say certain things? Is it who I marry have anything to do with how I do my life and how I do what I do as far as the color of the person that I marry? Does that really matter to you? Does that really matter to you? Does it make me less than the experienced black man in this country if I marry someone outside my race? So I'm gonna let that question that you ask me or ask the people, I'm gonna let that linger out there. Maybe somebody will tell you, but if they don't tell you, I definitely will answer that question, I promise. Sorry, E, I get sidetracked because I don't like when people do that type of stuff. That's our problem right there. That's our problem right there.
But with regard to this, you're right. It was a small clip. I can't 100% say he did this because the kid was black. I can't say that, with 100% certainty. But it sure did look like, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't see any other clips. So if there were other clips where this particular character was high-fiving little black kids, then I would say, probably not. I mean, if you walking down the street and you high-fiving, eventually you got to get back over there to your area in the parade and, go back to waving, I guess. So you got to stop somewhere. It seems weird that you would just stop with the black kids. But it was, maybe that meant I can't pick you up. But that ain't got nothing to do with, high-fiving, shaking hands, all of that kind of stuff. But again, I can't tell you what's in the man's mind or woman's mind. I don't know who was in there. I can't tell you what's in the person's mind. But it certainly looked like I'm going to dap up these white kids and I'm going to ignore these black kids.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't have enough information. All I know is there were other black parents and black kids at the park or in this parade, and this particular parent had a problem. There were no other complaints from any other. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen to them. It just meant like they probably didn't join on board. Even like, for instance, you got the black coach in the NFL, I forgot his name, but who didn't get hired. Mm-hmm. And now he filed a lawsuit. And then those other coaches that joined on, they had opportunities to do the same thing, but they didn't. But it took one person to file a complaint, and now here come the others. And all I'm saying is there's no other parents that are joining that same complaint. Now they got some traction. They got some national attention because once again, you got 9 seconds of a video. And now all these other videos that are starting to be clipped into this video where you got one of the big birds or some other stuffed animal that kind of rocks into a black kid. He's running to him and he rocks into the kid and hits him with his stomach, which I've seen that before. And he knocks the kid down. It's not like the stuffed animal walks over the kid. He actually knocks the kid down and reaches down and try to help him. But as he's reaching down to help him, here comes the video get cut. And that was a piece of video that was shown again, showing how disrespectful they are to the kids. My thing is, you know, I'm a big advocate, about if somebody's doing you wrong, just don't spend your money there. I mean, I know we need to expose things, but I'm a big advocate of if I see a history or if I see something going on that I know that we support financially, I just believe in if I hold my dollar from that establishment, that's the biggest thing that you can do to them. That is just to hold your money hostage from those individuals. And that's where I stand on that. Has that park or that organization had a history of complaints from black folks? I'd like to know that. I'd like to know the history of what's going on before I make my comments about if it's true or not, versus watching a 9-second video and somebody telling me this is how it is here. I just can't stand on that.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I know what it looks like to me, and you know that's upsetting. But there are people involved, and I mean, even you said there were other videos out there, none of which I've seen. So, like I said, kind of like with the bishop, I'm kind of trying to reserve judgment. I can say what it looked like, but I can't tell you what it is. And it looked like some. I'm not dealing with these black kids. That's what it looked like.
Well, maybe so. But I mean, I think there's a way of dealing with it. If that's the case, like I said, I'd like to have a little bit more information before I say an incident like that is primary. I mean, that's just how they function. That's how they do business. I mean, I just like to have more information. It take more than out of a 9-second video, it take more than a 4-second clip. I mean, there's so many different, without sounding like I'm making excuses for them, there's so many factors that could come in to make what made that look the way it looked, what put it that way. You know, I'm not trying to defend something that I don't know anything about. That's not my makeup. But at the same time, I don't fall for anything either. Because somebody put a certain situation in front of me, video don't always explain everything. You might see something.
In my mind, you know, Crump is involved now. And in my mind, he's done a little bit of research. Like if there are other videos out there, he's like, you know, show me the other videos. Yeah, these people were really discriminating against little black kids.
I've seen Benjamin Crump involved in shit before information was truly given. He went off the same thing I'm telling you about, and that's video. And he has removed himself from some of them things, like in South Carolina, that brother that got shot up. He went down there, took his own money to fly down there and get in front of a camera. No body cam or anything was given to the police. Soon as the family was allowed to go in and see that body cam, Benjamin Crump was on his jet up out of there. Because what was being told and what he even said to the people before he could even solidify anything, he was in an uproar. I'm just being honest with you. And he left. Once he seen the video, they only allowed the family to go in there and see the video. And then when he got an opportunity to see the video, he got on the next thing smoking. You ain't heard nothing from him about that situation. But he said a lot before the video was seen. He talked about this man, talked about how he was great, talked about this and this and that. This man was an undercover agent for the police. He was a snitch, snitching on people in the community. And then when he was telling lies to him, they ended up coming to arrest him. And it was one thing or the other. And that was, I'm not going to jail because I've been snitching on people. So y'all gonna have to take me dead or alive. That was pretty much how it was handled. And when Benjamin Crump found out all the information, not prior to having the real information, he came out and said a bunch of shit about this young man or this man who was snitching on people because he was a dope dude. He then told everybody how good this guy, he listening to the family. This dude was a good dude and blah, 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 blah. But then he don't know shit about him. He just listening to what they say. And then he get in front of 1 million people on the microphone describing somebody that he don't know, ain't seen no video. He that has no credibility of saying what he's saying, but he says it.
Well,
And
as
then
a,
when you
as
find
a,
out the truth,
if
you
he
gotta
if
bury
he
it.
came in as the attorney / spokesman for the family, then his job at that point is to say what the family said. His job is to say, hey, go out there and tell them he was a good boy and he didn't do
That's
nothing
not
to
what
nobody.
he did. That's not the capacity of what he was talking about. He did say that he was a good guy, but he also said that there's no reason why they should have shot him like they shot him, and why he didn't even have the full details. You're going to tell people that this was an unjust shooting when in fact this man tried to run over police officers with his car. They were standing in front of him. I don't want to get all into the details because
But
this
Wyatt,
is a touchy subject.
hold on, but Wyatt, if I bring you in as my spokesman and attorney for my family, and we call a press conference, I need you to go out there and say you a spokesman for the family. You don't go out there on your own and say what you think and what you want to say. You my mouthpiece. You go out there and you might edit me a little bit, but you go out there and you make the point that me as the family, the people that hired you, you make the point that he was a good dude. This was not justified, or there's no reason to shoot that man down like a dog, because people always say that, even though who are these people running around shooting dogs? But there's no reason to shoot that man down like a dog. That's what you're supposed to say, because that's the will of the family. Now, then as you get in and you look at it, then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What y'all told me to say don't line up with the facts. And none of us, he could not have had the facts, and he could not have gotten the facts until the police decided to give him the facts. He's a spokesman. He got to be a spokesman. He can't get up there and say, well, he was a snitch and, he wasn't really that good of a dude, and we don't have any information right now, so the police might have been justified. If my spokesman got up and said that, we would have all kind of problems.
No,
he did
he did not do his job. He went up there and talked about something and incited people when he didn't have facts. That's not doing your job. Doing your job would have your client in a position of, first of all, he's a spokesperson of fact. He's not a spokesperson of narrative. Okay,
no, he's a spokesperson
as
for
an
the
attorney.
family. He's a just like I can't think of her name, the spokesperson for the White House press secretary. Now, the White House press secretary, she is up there to relay the message that the Biden administration wants to put out. If they tell her, go say this is the message that we want to put out, and then she later find out that wasn't factual, but she can't just go up there and say, well, Joe Biden said so-and-so, but I can't really tell y'all that now because factually I don't have the facts to back that up. She can't do that. She got to go up there and say, well, she's the spokesperson. If Benjamin Crump comes in and he's the spokesperson for my family, get up there and say what we need you to say. Say it in a way legally where it looks good for us, or just you being there, being a lawyer, make it look good for us. But don't get up there talking about, well, until all the facts come in, the police might have been justified, maybe not. We got to wait and see what happened. That's not his role. That's not his role.
Okay, E, we'll leave it at that, because let me tell you, as long as we let people go up there and put a spin and narratives and say whatever without any facts, and you feel like that's what you hire people to do, then you continue to listen to those guys. I can't listen to that. That's why it takes me a minute before I say things about certain situations, because I rely on some facts. I rely on real good information. I don't rely on speculation, nor do I rely on people who want to make up things just to put people in a certain space in their mind. I don't do that. And I just don't, I have a problem with people that do it. I don't have a problem enough where I feel like I need to be changing them. I think the people that listen to it need to change a little bit, because it doesn't serve any good purpose. It really doesn't. It doesn't serve any good purpose when somebody stands up and gives you information that's not accurate, but yet it's kind of like giving somebody a pacifier with gunpowder on it. It's like a bad taste in their mouth, but it's settling them down. And that's a bad way to do business when you don't have the proper information.
Well, here's what I would say. Law enforcement does it all the time. Law enforcement does it all the time. They give us information that doesn't line up with what actually happened. And now, of course, they wait forever to release the video when it's questionable, but they give us a narrative and then ask us to withhold judgment, so that they spin their own narrative. So for the family to spin a narrative, I don't think is any more insidious than law enforcement spinning. Actually, it's much less insidious because law enforcement is doing it under the color of law, whereas these people are doing it under the color of their emotions. And you know,
well, let me answer this real fast. Cedric Robertson said, "Bro, Wyatt, you just speculated on the church robbery. I was actually just having fun on that. I mean, that was just me having a good time. I don't know exactly if it was a setup or a robbery, or a setup robbery or not. I was just having fun. I showed you what happened, and I made my comments out of fun. I was just having a good time out of it. No one got hurt, and the preacher has reported that he lost $1 million in jewelry, and I thought I'd have a little good time with that. And I'm sure Cedric was probably just kind of having a fun time with me about that comment. I don't want anybody to think that I was really like sincere. I was just having fun with the preacher thing, bro. That's all it was.
We can have a little fun every now and then.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I just don't think that it's. I mean, I see some local attorneys that do better. Like for instance, can I be honest and tell you, I seen Clyde Bennett here in Cincinnati handle a situation unbelievably well. You know, there was a shooting. A brother got shot in the head at Walmart in broad daylight and caught on video. And when Clyde turned his client in down at District 1, I believe, he turned him in and he did an amazing job with not speaking about facts, unknown facts, speculation. It's a way that you handle those things.
But that's different.
It's a way to handle the no, it's
not.
No, he was hired as the spokesperson.
No, he was hired as the attorney for that guy.
That's the same thing. It's
different.
The same thing.
That's not no.
So one is a defense attorney and one is a civil attorney. They both have to speak highly of their client. It makes no difference what position they are.
No,
their legal representation.
No,
same
it really
thing.
Does. Why? It really does make a difference.
Okay, tell me that.
If I hire you to represent me in a legal case, that's different than if I'm dead and my family hires you to be the spokesperson for the family. That's entirely different. It's a different, almost a whole different ball game.
Yes, the act is different, but the lawyer, I know there's a civil situation versus a criminal, but I don't think the spokesperson that you call him, the attorney hired, has a different approach. I think both approaches are the same. You don't want to say anything that's incriminating about your client. You don't want to say anything that's detrimental to the reputation of your client. They have the same purpose. Both of them, the defense attorney and the criminal and the civil attorney, they serve the same purpose. If you're going to use what you used and said, okay, this person is the spokesperson of the family, they both serve that same position when they're speaking in behalf of the person, whether they're dead or alive. It's the same situation.
I don't think so. And maybe I'm as a not being an attorney, maybe I'm viewing it different. But I would imagine that if I'm the attorney for a client, alive and kicking, charged with a crime, no, I don't want to, I really don't want to say anything except for, my client will fight these charges, whatever. Now, that's different than I'm dealing with a family that's grieving and mad, and maybe justifiably, we don't have any information and we're not getting any information from law enforcement. And the family that I'm representing wants me to go out and make a statement. Sure, I could say, look, we don't have any information, and until we get any information, let's all reserve judgment. But that's not me being a spokesperson for my client. That's me trying to, pacify the situation or whatever. My client is mad, and my client feel like they person was done wrong by the justice system. And my client feel like, their person was a good person. I'm listening to all this, and then I got to go out here. Yeah, I'm gonna say my client feel like this is not justified, and they shot their relative down in the street like a dog, and something has to be done, and somebody has to be held accountable. Now I'm actually speaking up for they don't all want to get up and speak. That's why they hired me as their spokesperson. So I'm gonna tell you what they think and what they feel. Now I'm not gonna say as a matter of fact that this was an unjustified shooting, but I will tell you that my clients feel like this is not justified and that there's no reason why their loved one should be dead. I'm doing my job as the spokesperson while also as an attorney trying to make sure that I don't say anything that could get me or my clients sued, by making any accusations that aren't based in fact, but saying this is how they feel. That's me being the spokesperson.
I mean, that's a good explanation. It sounds good, E, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. However, I think you probably didn't hear Crump explain his purpose of being there, because what you're saying sounds right, sounds good, sounds like a great purpose of being there, but that's not quite how he described his purpose of being there. He had a whole different spiel. It was almost like he was already aware of what had happened, and the police had already explained to everybody what the process was and what needed to happen. And of course, yes, as him being a spokesperson for the family, it wasn't a good enough explanation. So he pretty much put himself on the foreground and it was just like what Clyde Bennett, the opposite of what Clyde Bennett did when he had that interview live on the camera, when the interviewers, the news people were trying to get him to be more, to put his clients out in front, and he wouldn't do it. And Clyde did an amazing job of redirecting the questioning. They even got so desperate, they asked Clyde, like, do you know him? Do you know him personally? And I could see in Clyde's eyes, he's like, what kind of question? Why are you going there? Because he wasn't giving them anything, because he couldn't really, there was some facts that you definitely have to stay away from. Yeah. There is some misinformation that you definitely want to stay away from. But until he can get into a situation where all can come together, that's why he does not want to make certain comments in public. And Crump he did just the opposite. He uproared and he made sure people was in a position of, they shouldn't have did that boy like that. He didn't have any information. He didn't know if it was a legitimate or justified shooting. He didn't know that. And he passed this guy off as some type of individual in the community that did, like he was a schoolboy walking home from school, and the police did him like that. When in fact,
that sounded to me like what police do when police officers shoot people. They pass them off like they're the best police officer ever. They're the best citizen ever. And
probably so. No, I think it's the opposite of what you're saying. You're saying that's what police do when they trying to say the reason why they shot someone is because they weren't a schoolboy or a schoolgirl or something, right?
I'm saying when a police officer shoots someone and the police come out, they talk about what a shining officer this is. This is an amazing officer. The person that you representing, the side that you representing, you always want to paint them in the best light.
Well, I don't know if they did that with Chauvin. I didn't see anybody coming to the rescue for that dude. I'm just saying, different. I know that shit. I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, that was one that they definitely had. Even the police union was like, "Nah, we can't fuck with this. Like, he got to go. Like, he's about to destroy the whole situation." So, right. But yeah, like for instance, let me give you an example. A black police officer shot a man this weekend, and like I told you, when you and I had a conversation off the air, and I said, "E, you were absolutely right about some things." And you said what? And I'm like, well, bro, you said that the police officers tend to show video body cam when it's kind of at their advantage. And I said, well, I think that it's a certain process. And I used Chief Craig up in Detroit where he brought out the video because the city was downtown in Detroit ready to tear it up, but they had to release the video a lot sooner than their normal the way they normally do it. And I think the reason why they did that is because they had the truth right then and there, and they wanted to go ahead and show it to the people. Well, I want to just say this. Cincinnati Police Department did the same thing over the weekend. And I have to give you your props. You were absolutely right. If they would release these police cams or body cams a lot sooner, maybe it would let the public know a justified shooting or not. And in this case, out in Madisonville at the UDF, a black police officer shot a white man, and it was justified. And they released the body cam, as soon as possible. Now, at some point in the past, they didn't release those cameras that fast. And what your point was, is they only release them when they're justified. But the ones that they may have question to, they hold on to them. And I agree with you. I think that probably after looking at some of the cases, and I've gone back and looked at some things, I think that you could be possibly right about that. But I think they still do hold on to some justified shootings as well, because there's a process. We don't know what it is in police unions, but when there's an officer involved shooting, there is a process that they have to go through. And there's certain internal trials that they have. I can't speak on all of those, but I do know that they have their own cases that they handle within the police department and in the unions. So, I mean, I'll give you your props. You were right about them releasing some of the justified killing videos sooner than they do questionable ones.
All right. Hey, Wyatt. And I got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here.
Hey, trees done?
No, man. The trees ain't done. I got to rent this lift, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. I got another tree that I think is coming down. It's just a whole ordeal. But when I rent this lift, everything will be taken care of that day. So I'm not dealing with the trees today. I got the little baby today, and I done promised a bike ride. So we doing a bike ride.
Not the fake motorcycle ride, a real bike, like a bicycle.
She got her little bike. She got her little helmet. And the little baby want to ride her little bike. So.
Okay. All right, brother. Well, anything else, man, before we get out of here? I just been about this check. I ain't seen that brother in a long time. He just said I'd be capping for the police when, in fact, I just said you were right. Come on, Ben, about this check. Don't turn on me like that. I just said E-Man was right. What did I say that was capping for that I'm all on the police side on this one? I just said what E said was right. Damn. I can't win for losing, bro. I can't win for losing.
Me either. But yeah, I don't have anything else other than make sure that you check Wyatt out every weekday, other than Mondays, 5 to 7, or whenever he gets finished. The Wyatt Drive live at 5.
Boy, he will damage the name and everything. Anyway, check
Hold on,
man.
No, give me the name.
Wyatt Live. Drive home at 5 p.m., bro. It's not that you got to drive home at 5 p.m. That's what
I said. The Wyatt Live Drive at 5.
No. Yeah, okay. It sounds something like that. I guess that's about right. But anyway, check out E-Man in his afternoon experiment at 1 o'clock each day, Tuesday through Friday, or whenever he feel like coming. If he ain't got no trees and nothing falling down, he'll be here. If he ain't working on his motorcycle or his motorcycle with pedals, he'll be here for you. You get it painted yet? Just quick, you get it painted yet?
No, I haven't even touched it. The tree saga had me, so I won't start on it probably to the end of this week.
Oh, okay. Well, I look forward to seeing it, man. Are you taking pictures before and after? You did that yet?
I will, because I haven't touched it up yet. So I will. I'll take before and after pictures.
Okay. Well, that's good, man. I can't wait to see them. You going with the orange? I'm
going with the gray.
Gray, okay.
The flat gray, and orange for the lettering.
That's gonna look good. That's gonna look good. let's see here. I think that's it, man. Well, somebody asked what platform. Same platform on Wyatt Live is on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and all that, just like it is here. Just go to my Facebook page, or you can go to Wyatt Live, or look at E-Man, and I tagged him in some things so you can find us there. And same thing with me. You'll be able to find E-Man on his website, Emmanuel Livingston. Just go to my Facebook page and you'll see him tagged in some things. Make sure y'all click him. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. Make sure y'all support him. We're trying to do something a little bit different. No different than what radio is doing or podcasts are doing. We're just trying to show y'all that a couple brothers that may have some, that disagree on some things or have different perspectives on some stuff could still get along and bring a good positive message to everyone. And we can agree to disagree on some things, but Emmanuel and I tend to agree on a lot of stuff. We just get there a little bit different.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get there a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm gonna bring you over to the right way of thinking so that you can get there the right
get you
way.
to the right process of thinking so you can get where you're going. We always get there the same way. We might be thinking different, but we always get where we're going. But I appreciate you for having me once again, E. You always give great information and don't always be right, but you give a great dialect of how you feel. I'll give you that. But hey, maybe next week we'll have something a little. Oh, if I may, August the 1st is a go for Eli's Barbecue. You know, we got our thing tomorrow. We need to go do our setup check and all that. That's tomorrow. You know that. But, and I won't say the time because we'll have people down there tripping like, you know, they'll be down there. But August the 1st at 1 p.m., we're going live from Eli's Barbecue down at the Friendly Market. August the 1st, which is a Monday. Mark your calendars. Come down and say what's up to the king, to Emmanuel Livingston. Come down there and say what's up to us.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. But
I
all right,
too, man.
Wyatt, I got to get out of here, man. I hope for you, for your family, for everybody watching, and even those people who will watch later on, I hope something amazing happens in your life today. I'm the King of Talk, Emmanuel Livingston. I'm out, y'all.
I am Wyatt, the I in the King and I. And by the way, Jerica, I've been married to my black queen for 22 years. Just to answer your question. 1 o'clock next Monday. We'll see you guys right here. Peace and love to everybody. E-Man, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, family, everybody. Appreciate you guys. See you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Wyatt Live. Tomorrow on the Afternoon Experience with Emmanuel Livingston at 1 o'clock. If he decides to come on, I'm sure he'll be here. He'll give you a notice if he's not. We'll see you guys next Monday. We'll see you all tomorrow as well at 1 o'clock and at 5 o'clock. Peace and love to everybody. Holla.
You forgot.